This is the MLW Radio Network.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly trip into the world according to former WWE and ECW wrestler, the Blue Meanie. We'll talk wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I'm Josh Shernoff, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what's happening, man? We're back.
We're back. We're back, and we're doing it live. Well, for some people. If this is Monday, we're not live. We are Memorex. We're doing good, man. I'm doing good. Happy to be here. Happy to have the folks listening at home. Happy to have people watching live on Patreon. That was quite the experience last week. Knowing people are watching what I'm doing in my living room right now. You all are our Alexas. You're our personal Alexas listening to us in our house.
I hope so. I hope anyone's watching or listening live right now on Patreon. Someone is.
Yeah, someone is. There was an old Saturday Night Live skit called Hello Trudy. It was a talk show called Hello Trudy because their only viewer was a woman named Trudy. And there was like a jingle and the show started, Hello Trudy, or something like that. and Trudy was their only caller, their only viewer. So there's somebody out there right now who's our Trudy. Hello, Trudy.
Yeah, maybe it's Pod Squad member Travis. Is it Travis? Who knows? We'll find out.
He was Pod Squad Roulette.
Yeah. So, so what's up, man? Hey, we're here. We're rolling.
We're sniffling. We're itchy.
Man, allergies have kind of taken out both of us.
What the fuck, dude? Like you're like, hey man, I gotta go blow my nose. I was like, dude, I've been clawing my eyes out for the last half hour.
I didn't say nose.
Oh, what's that?
What? Nothing. Hey now.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, no, it's been allergies have just been, the weather's been ridiculous here. Yeah. So we're both Meanie is in the heart of Philly and I'm in the suburbs of Philly, but we've been experiencing pretty similar weather here. It's like and you also don't know, you can look at it 1 hour and it tells you, oh, you're gonna have a big rainstorm in 5 minutes, and then that never happens. So it's out of control.
That's kind of like Florida, where like rain just appears out of anywhere.
Well, yeah. Well, at least then you just know it's Florida, so it's just gonna pop up and disappear. But it's man.
I was driving down I-95 in Florida once, and I'm driving down a perfectly sunny highway, and to my right there's a thunderstorm, like right there, and I'm just like, crazy. Oh, it's like standing right next to a thunderstorm, and I'm not getting wet. And it's like,
I remember there was this one time in elementary school. Where it was raining on one, we were out for recess and it was raining on one side of the basketball court.
Yeah.
Like, it was just raining like heavily. I mean, not, I'm sure in my mind I thought it was heavy, but it was raining, but it like trailed off and then just stopped. And it blew my mind. I'd never seen something like that before, where you could, and especially because it was on the basketball court, you could tell like, it's not raining over here where we're standing, and it was so weird. And my little, like, probably third grade mind was just like, I don't know, aliens are here. Is this another alien episode?
Could be.
Hey, right off the bat, if I can hashtag humble brag, as the kids say, you are wearing, for anyone who can see right now, you are wearing the famous Retromania BWO t-shirt.
Which is available on Pro Wrestling Tees, by the way, at their Retromania wrestling store.
Awesome. So. Go get it. We finally made the announcement this past week on So Says Shernoff on Fight TV. I am so excited to announce that I am the official ring announcer for Retromania. We teased like 2 months ago that I'd have an announcement coming really soon, and it took a little bit longer than I think.
It's the apocalypse.
Yeah, any of us were hoping for. But at this point, I've recorded a ton of voiceovers for it. I'm definitely not done yet. I know there's a lot more that I need to do, but we've recorded a bunch. I have introduced the Blue Meanie numerous times, and I gave it my all for you.
Put a little extra mustard on it.
Yep, and
Dude,
Nova not so much, but
Yeah, well.
I'm kidding. I love Nova. There's no. I've always been a fan. I just like to.
He's smart to the deal.
Yeah,
So.
He knows. He knows.
For anybody running off the
Son
stooge off, go, did you hear what Meanie and Shernoff said on the podcast about you?
So I was watching along on Fight TV. They have like the chat, and I'm checking this out, and I'm like waiting to see, because people were so excited. Retromania did this amazing job of building up that we were going to have this really exciting announcement, and I was just waiting for people to be so disappointed because, and not to be self-deprecating, but realistically, if roles
that's
are
our
reversed,
brand is self-deprecation.
yes. But if I'm just a fan here and I'm not familiar with who this Josh Shernoff guy is, but I am so excited for this Retromania game, and Retromania now comes on and says, we are going to make this huge announcement. Tune in, check it out. I'm ready. I'm waiting. Who's this mystery player? What's the date that this video game's coming out? All these things that people are so excited about. And I'm watching, people are just like, I want PCO. It better be PCO. And someone else, this guy, that guy. And I'm sitting there going, oh, I'm going to get so much blowback from this. Surprisingly and pleasantly, I was pleasantly surprised. Everybody who was watching along with Ian Riccoboni was actually even on there. He's like, I'm here for the announcement. I'm like, oh no, Ian's on here now. He's gonna, everybody.
If you ever want to see Ian swear.
Yeah. But everybody just across the board was just congratulations, Josh, and really positive. And which meant the world to me. Everybody was so positive about it. I was a little disappointed at how positive everyone was because I had this like game plan in my mind. I was like, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to have the Meanie read the negative reviews in the Meanie voice. And I was going to call it, I hadn't figured out what I was going to call it, but it was going to be something like, why so meanie? And like, that was my plan, but no one was mean except for one guy there was one guy, it wasn't even mean, but someone was like, it should have been this guy, or someone else wrote, he looks like Joey Styles, which I was like, okay.
Joey's a handsome man.
Yeah. I could do a lot worse than a Joey Styles.
Yeah.
But like one guy, I remember when I started doing
he looks like Joe McEwen.
Well, when I started doing So Says Shernoff, someone posted, they're like, he looks like I don't know if they used the exact term, but I think they said he looks like a poor man's Joel McHale. And I was like, I think I look like at least like moderately like doing okay Joel McHale, if anything. I don't think I'm a poor man's Joel McHale. I'm
pre-tax.
Yeah.
Take outage. Yeah. Whatever that fucking word is.
I'm at least a solid middle class Joel McHale. Okay. Yeah. And like, come on. But yeah, so no, I'm so excited, and I talked about it in the interview with Mike Herman, the creator of Retromania. Which
Mike's
check out that interview on So Says Shernoff. I know I'm technically plugging my show, but it was such a great interview and so interesting to hear how he came about getting this whole thing together and getting it to be the official sequel to WrestleFest. But one of the stories I told was how I first discovered it, and it was from you, Meanie, wearing, I believe, that exact shirt.
Yeah, I haven't changed it. I've been wearing it.
Haven't washed it. Haven't changed it. It's but it was at the Starcast in Vegas, and I remember looking at it, I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This is so cool." And to go from that to now, like I think about all the different connections. Like I go from, that was me going, oh, dude, awesome, Meanie's here. I'll go because we'd met before, and I'm like, oh man, I'll get an interview with Meanie. That'll be great. To going, tell me about this video game. This is insane. To now being able to announce and talk about on our show that I get to co-host on Mind of the Meanie with you, and then talk about that I'm now in this video game that I was so excited to even hear that this thing was going to exist. Now I get to be the one to announce people to the ring. I know I said #humble brag, but it really is. I'm really humbled by all the response. I'm so excited to be a part of this. Go pre-order this game now if you haven't already. It's going to be awesome. And Meanie is the first game. I saw they post something. This is the first wrestling game ever to have the full BWO in it.
It is.
Which is
and
really
then of course there's a comment right after that. Well, the game's got to come out first and in order for that to be true. And I was like, well, I don't have any other video game deals, and neither does Stevie or Nova. So
I wish Demolition could be in it.
Oh my God! Push up my wrestling nerd glasses.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Wrestling
fucking
nerds,
Debbie Downers, man.
Wrestling, we love wrestling nerds, but yeah, those people they're not Pod Squad members, and I'm talking elite. I'm talking Patreon, and I'm talking just old school Pod Squad members. All of you are incredible. We love you. But the game is coming out before the end of the year, is what he said.
I've been wanting to talk about it, but then again, I don't want to. I was like, I knew we had this announcement coming, so I didn't want to fucking downplay it.
And I was like,
I didn't want to go, I don't have to go down the roster and then like, I wonder who the ring announcer's going to be.
Yeah, right.
Stuff like that. But I'm glad we're able to talk about this video game. I'm so excited for it. Growing up a game nerd, like I was a video game nerd, but it was always wrestling games or sports games and stuff like that. And trust me, I spent plenty of time in the arcades playing WrestleFest. And now, all these years later, I'm a part of the official sequel to WWF WrestleFest. It's amazing. It's a great roster. And with the pre-orders and stuff like that, which please go pre-order this video game. It's enabling them to go out and they contact more wrestlers for download. Characters and stuff like that, and they're going to have a lot more downloadable content and stuff like that. I know there's other wrestlers out there who want to be on this game. This game's like an episode of Batman where in the '60s Batman where all the celebrities wanted to do a cameo and stuff like that. There's wrestlers who want to be on this game.
Yeah,
and if you go out there and pre-order the game now, it'll allow them to build up. A cachet to where they could go, okay, let's go get more wrestlers.
And we already have, I know Chris Bay, who's now with Impact Wrestling. He's a downloadable character. There are more that I know who they are because I've announced them to the ring already, but I can't say who they are. But people are just going to be so psyched with who these names are. And but my advice to everybody, based off of watching everyone get so excited for the announcement that ended up just being me, my advice is just lower your expectations and you'll be pleasantly surprised. But if people are like, sitting there, I saw one person, I think they were joking. They're like, is Kane going to be in it? It's like, no, Kane's not going to be in it. If a person is a intellectual property of the WWE, they're not going to be in this game. If they're intellectual property or under contract with AEW and did not sign ahead of time, they are not going to be in this game. So understand that. And it's really cool to have people, though, like Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, Warhorse, who is, if he's not signed somewhere by the time this game comes out, that's a travesty because that dude's
talk
great.
about a guy who just made a name for himself. Mm-hmm. You look how Zack Ryder was under contract to WWE, and like Zack Ryder's like the hallmark of getting yourself over online.
Oh yeah,
and Warhorse is taking that role and just he's gotten himself booked on AEW. Just by his online presence and stuff like that. So hats off to Warhorse, and it's such a great get for this video game.
Yeah, and Horror Wars as well. Hats off to.
Is that what I said?
I think that's what you corrected yourself. But it was.
We're all whores.
I was just trying to get a spit take from you there because you're drinking some water.
Some of my freezer water.
Oh man! Oh, you know what? I'm gonna crack open. I've got.
Yeah, I've been waiting to.
Here we go.
Oh,
little coconut lime today.
Sticking with the lime theme, and I've done coconut.
Oh,
so
you're a big.
I know we're both.
That's why they called you. They used to call you a big cokehead back in the day because that man's walking around just eating coconuts, throwing coconuts.
I'm the world's fattest cokehead.
Oh, go birds!
But I got the Bellevue strawberry. So
nice.
Go birds!
There we are.
Let's see.
Hey, shout out to, I want to give him a nickname, Andy, merch guy Andy.
Yeah.
It seems like such like a crappy nickname.
Schlichter.
Yeah, Andy Slichter.
Slichter.
The doctor of merchandise, Slichter. But no, Andy's just been knocking out of the park. I thought about that because he made we've got something, it's not out yet, but there will be the Go Birds lime seltzer shirt. But man,
I
we
almost
just
feel like I have to stick to lime now.
I know, right? Yeah. That's why I looked in my fridge. I'm like, oh, thank God. Glad I have some lime here. But I guess whatever we have, we'll just squeeze limes into it.
Yeah. You put the lime in the coconut.
Yeah. And then I put the lime and the coconut in me.
Yeah.
Delicious.
I was trying to think of something to make you do a fucking spit take, too.
Yeah.
Fucking rib you back.
Nice.
No, Andy's been doing a fucking amazing job.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Thank you. you know, it's like I want to blush.
My favorite thing is like when he'll do some like late night work and I wake up the next morning and my inbox has like, hey, what do you think of this? And I'm just like blown away by these, by the artwork. And he's just, you know, he's really, I mean, he is an official member of the team and we're so happy to have him. We need to, I need to come up with something. I don't know. There's got to be some sort of doctor of something. I don't know, doctor of merch, doctor of stylized graphics. I don't know, but shout out. I just want to give a shout out to him because he's been knocking it out of the park, and we've been able to do some cool stuff over on our Patreon, and of course, ProWrestlingTees.com/MindOfTheMeanie. We're always putting new things up there. There are some shirts that Pro Wrestling Tees can't put on for similarity reasons. They're similar to other, you know, copywritten merchandise that we can get away with because it's because of parody law. Yeah, we can get away with, but while they could also get away with it, don't necessarily want to upset any of the people they work with, which makes a lot of sense because trust me, if we had an AEW shirt, AEW inspired shirt, which we do have, I guarantee you Pro Wrestling Tees makes more money from AEW merchandise than they do from Mind of the Meanie. We're doing well. We're doing very well.
Yeah.
But I understand completely, and it's good business on Pro Wrestling Tees' part.
Smart business. But
we're then able to throw that onto our Patreon exclusive. So, you know, you can get...
I want to say another thing about Andy. Dude, like, to have people... You know, I mean, we have a lot of great fans. No doubt. But, like, what he's doing takes a lot of pressure off of me and you because me and you... I mean, you and I, I'm smart.
You and I and you and me and I. What?
Yes. Huh?
If I make a joke out of it, then people will think that I know the proper way to say it.
There you go. But yeah, he's taking a lot of pressure off of you and I because we're always thinking of ideas for shirts and stuff like that. So to have, he's like our third eye, you know, just like he's listening and something pops into his head and he jumps on his Meanie merch machine and cranks out a shirt.
Well, he did that last week because he's a Patreon member and he was watching this live feed that we know and hello everybody who is watching this. Thank you for joining us. But he was watching it, so by the time we got off of recording this, we made some calls to some Patreon members, some elite members, and which was also a blast. But by the time we were finished that, he had created, I want to say 2 shirts based off of what we had talked about. He made a stink shirt, which is awesome. And he made, what was the other? Oh, the like,
I think it was stink and the lime shirt, the Go Birds one.
No, he made that one, but there was also the like gas tank one, I think it was.
Yeah, tribute to my farts.
Yes.
Dude, we had kibasi and cabbage last night. So.
Oh, dear God. How are your neighbors? Has anyone done a wellness check on them?
I can't even drink my fucking coffee, you motherfucker. How are your neighbors? Dude, yeah.
Yeah, they're dead. Moving on.
I'm just going to knock on the wall. Hello? There's a joke there. I can't. It's formulating. Fuck it. I lost it.
Okay.
Seriously though, man, we have we're bookshelf between two asshole houses, and this fly that's fucking with me.
Yeah, anyone. This is the other. Join Patreon so you can watch Meanie swat at a fly on the live feed.
I love summer, but the thing I hate about summer is, like, if I leave the door open, like, they'll sneak in. Like, when you, it's like they come in through the littlest fucking hole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say, I have the door's like that, fucking whatever. And you see the fly on the screen, you open the door, go, fly away, be free. And they're like, nah, I'm good.
No, they won't. They just won't.
Just chilling
like,
here.
what's wrong with?
I promise this won't happen as the fall comes. But yeah.
I hope, dude, if it's like winter time and you have flies around in your place, I think you need to like get a cleaning person in there or something. And
well, we need a cleaning person, but it's just all clothes.
Don't we all?
It's just
that's
like
why one time
like hoarders by clothing. There's like no dead raccoons. We just have too many clothes.
Yeah.
So
no, I one time I said to my wife, I'm like, because like our playroom was a mess with the kids. Just, you know, I was like, and it just felt like every day, like we just couldn't. We were trying to get on top of it, and we just couldn't. And I said, I'm like, we need to hire like a cleaning person to come in. And she said, she's like, you know, they're not gonna like they'll vacuum, but they have to be able to see the carpet. Like, you know, it's like we have to clean this, and we did. And now that the kids are a little bit older, it's a lot better. Hey, shout out to my son who went on the potty today.
Nice.
For the first time.
By himself?
Yeah, no, I mean, like we put him in pull-ups this morning. So he's
Does
3.
he have like a little baby newspaper that he brings in under his arm?
He absolutely would.
Going to work, Dad.
He would bring anything in. He sat in his little Buzz Lightyear potty and went number 1. But no, dude, we were proud of him.
He went number 1 sitting down?
You have to sit, dude. He's 3 years
old.
old.
No, number 2, you sit down.
Well, yeah, except for when you don't know how to do it, and you want him to sit there because they got this little gimmick that comes up that covers over his little gimmick, so he can pee into the thing. Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm not.
Technically, number 2 is number 3 because you do both.
I guess so. Number 1. Well, number 1, number 2,
I'm
number
just
3.
trying to get to the point. I'm 47, and sometimes I say, "Fuck it," I'm just sitting down for this one, and this is like, yeah.
No, but yeah,
I'll read some memes and take a leak. Hold on,
it's exhausting sometimes having to stand there all that time, especially when you get to your age and your prostate. It takes a long time for it to come out. So
you can set a fucking watch to that one, just like trains coming in.
No, I'm trying to think of like some of the things that have been going on. What's been going on with you?
Dude.
So, you were starting to say you ate some.
No. I'm just saying we had kielbasa and sauerkraut last night. Jeez. I don't know what made me talk about that. And then you talked about your.
You talked about it because I mentioned the gas T-shirt.
Right, and then we had the kielbasa, and then here's a fucking story. I don't know if anybody's ever told this one, but I mean it didn't happen to me. But I don't know. But you're talking about your son going to potty, and Road Warrior Animal was having like a Christmas party or something at his house. Yeah. And he invited a bunch of the boys. So Mr. Perfect Kurt Henning goes up to use the bathroom and sees the fucking potty chair there and takes a dump in his son's potty chair and leaves it there. So during the course of the night, Animal goes up to go take a piss or whatever, and he sees this, and he's so proud that his son took this massive dump. He's like, guys, look at what my son did, and not knowing that it was fucking Mr. Perfect took a shit in his son's potty chair. If it's true, it's brilliant. Like I told a fucking Raven story on here, and then somebody had to fucking snitch tag him, and he was like, "Oh, that's not true." I was like, "Well, either way, it's a brilliant fucking story."
Yeah, you can't.
You know how he took the guys from THQ to a strip club so he could get on the cover of the wrestling. He's like, "Oh, that didn't happen." I was
First
like,
of all,
dude,
it's the wrestling.
First of all,
business.
why would you deny that story? It's a brilliant story.
Yeah,
you know?
It's the wrestling business. You don't ever let the facts get in the way of a good story. And
no.
It's entertainment here. But no, you know what? Well, I'm not that. I want to walk this back. No, I'm just going to say it. Not that I want to picture Mr. Perfect taking a shit, or really anyone for that matter. It's just not my thing. If it's yours, more power to you.
Yeah, he was good with the shit.
But
shit ribs.
What I want to say is like, just like you're a childhood fan of Mr. Perfect. You think of him with that nice Intercontinental title, spitting the gum and smacking it, throwing that towel, always catching it. Now picture him popping what has to be one of the deepest squats you could that a very grown man, because he was a big dude. Yeah. The squat he had to have popped to make that happen.
To open the hatch.
Yeah. And it's just like there's effort put in. Like you have to wonder, like, was he holding on to something? Like, so he didn't fall over? Like,
well, he's been to Japan and their toilets are on the floor. So
that's
you got to shit in a hole in Japan. So maybe I practice, working for all Japan.
Can it be any hole? Or are they specific?
No, in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm not even making this up. Like, American, I guess, I'm not talking like a fucking tour guide because I never fucking been there. But, like in Japan, from the people who I know who've gone, if you go to take a shit, the toilet is a hole in the floor. I mean, there's some Americanized toilets over there. But you have to squat down, and that's why people invented the squatty potty, because that's the proper way to take a shit.
Yeah.
You got to get the knees up there, like
Absolutely.
About the deadlift. But dead shit.
So I'm talking about, like, this was some great feat by Kurt Hennig, but maybe this was the easiest shit he ever took.
What's that?
It was the easiest shit he ever took. Probably just kept,
probably like Mr. Softy, like
perfect.
Get the Dairy Queen little whip on it. Whip. Little.
Oh,
dude, he I guess he was in the NWO, and they had a bunch of NWO guys hiding underneath the ring.
Yeah,
to do a run in, and they set him under there with a monitor and like a bucket in case they had to take a piss. Well, he went and took a shit. So
what did he wipe himself with?
What's that?
What did he wipe himself with?
Who knows? Who knows? There's one story I want to tell, but I really can't tell it. But
tell it. What? I didn't. Must have been somebody else. No, don't get yourself in trouble. Remember, we're live. We can't cut this out.
Yeah. No, it's a good one. I'll tell you off air.
Okay. Man, that just pissed off the entire audience. Just make something up and claim that that's what it was you were going to say.
Yeah. No, but he was good with the shit ribs.
Yeah. There's a new line of action figures coming out now from WWE. That's like a decade of whatever, and it's all like celebrating people who've been there for, I guess, over the last 10 years or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It's all over the place. But there's a Randy Orton. And I remember when they first showed online like a picture of what it was going to be, he came with an accessory. And I thought that it was a purse. And I'm like, that is a deep cut, because, he took a shit in one of the Divas bags.
Did he?
So yeah, I didn't even know that's the old rumor. So that's what I thought it was. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Turns out it was the sling from his Randy Nightly News segments, but they had it off to the side of him. So that's what I thought. And I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. And then it was, it was a sling, but yeah.
Dude, I had a fucking story and it just dissipated.
Oh.
It's amazing when you a little inside baseball to people who listen and watch the show. Like I said, my mind is like the fucking Billy Joel song, "We Didn't Start the Fires." There's constant words like bum, dum, 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 so you're telling me the story, and I'm paying I'm intently paying attention. But in my mind, I'm like, words.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes I cut you off a little bit, and I feel like a fucking heel.
Always
doing
cut me off. You will
I
never
don't-
get a word in if you don't cut me off.
Dude, I feel like a fucking heel, fucking raking your eyes. By the way, speaking of Billy Joel's, we didn't start the fire.
Okay.
My favorite fucking 2 words in that whole song are Alabama Crew Chef. Because I was like, man, that would be a perfect fucking band name. Or you could do a gimmick like Alabama Doink.
Yeah.
You know, like, did you ever see Alabama Doink?
Yes.
You could do Alabama Crew Chef. It'd be like a hillbilly Russian gimmick or something like that. But like in high school, Alabama Crew Chef, man, that's going to be my band's name, you know?
That's
so
awesome. I remember.
and, what's that?
No, keep going. I'm
No,
cutting you off now.
please. I'm
I just low blowed you. But
hot potato.
I'm sitting here. I'm looking at myself. I'm sitting like Larry King, like hunched over on my.
Judy in Palm Beach County, you're on the air.
I need my new setup. We're working on getting those arms, the microphone arms.
Dude, I'm begging for that because another inside baseball thing. I got this like fucking mic stand that holds this gimmick up, and I slide it in and out. And I don't keep this shit up, you know, during the week or when we're like not doing anything. So like I've folded up, put it off. This is like my office. I'm like Les Nessman in WKRP in Cincinnati. You should put some tape on the floor, you know. This is my office. So like I have to break this down. I want to get that arm. I'll just keep that shit fucking set up all the time.
Yeah.
And just, you know, in case we have to do an emergency podcast. Like I always imagine, Meanie, something's happened. Let's hop on the gimmick, and you know, I'd just go and be ready in like 2 seconds. But you know.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Now that we have Patreon, we absolutely could do that sometime. It's like
There's stuff I want to review. I'll just put it out there. Like, because before we came on the air, well, before we went on air, we didn't come on air yet.
Not even breathing heavy.
Dude, I love watching reaction videos. Like when people watch something they haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And I love like when the hip hop kids watch Eddie Van Halen. Because watching their reaction to watching Eddie Van Halen reminds me why I fell in love with Eddie Van Halen, because their reactions are just so pure.
Yeah.
You know,
When
when I
you were
first
just
saw
a
Eddie Van
young
Halen, I
hip-hop
was
kid.
like, oh my God, what the, you know, it's like I was watching this alien play guitar, you know, and he, you know, like I'll fight somebody over Eddie Van Halen because, you know, like
Now-
the band Van Halen has like been huge to my life. Like growing up asthmatic, being in the hospital all the time. My 3 loves were wrestling, stand-up comedy, and Van Halen. But watching these people, you know, it's everybody watching the video. You know, hip hop kids, and then there's like these 2 little, not toddlers, but they gotta be like 10 years old watching it. These 2 little kids, and they're watching it, and they're just like, it just reminds me of why I felt.
You posted a video on social media of Simon and Garfunkel and Eddie Van Halen, which was just, dude, that was so cool.
Yeah, that was from.
I'd never seen that before or heard that before.
I'd never seen it, but I gotta give a shout out. Like, if you're a Van Halen fan like me, there's this YouTube channel. It's called My Collection. The guy puts up Van Halen videos and Evel Knievel. It's just like, all right,
That's it. All right.
sorry, dude.
No.
Like a couple times a week, he puts up like these Van Halen videos. I'm just like, where the fuck is he getting them? There's some shows I've seen.
I wonder if he's just got like old VHSs and he's just slowly digitizing them.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because there's one show Van Halen did in Landover, Maryland in 82 that's been making the rounds. But he put up this video, and it looked like he filmed it right from the source. It's like it's pro shot, multiple cameras, the sound's coming right from the soundboard. And I was like, where's he getting this shit? And he's just put up all this rare shit. Like today he put up a movie Valerie Bertinelli did that Eddie did the score for, called The Seduction of Gina. I'm just like, download.
You see people like that, and there's so many. We've talked before about how like I like to collect like the old action figures and stuff, and we've talked about like things you like to collect and all. You ever see people like that, and you're like I remember. So I saw one guy. Because I love collecting action figures. I'm a huge Bret Hart fan. And growing up, I was like, there's no bigger Bret Hart fan than me. And then I see this dude like post something. He's got every action figure, every bit of merchandise, every single one of the sunglasses, including like apparently WCW sold sunglasses that were like just like the round, like ugly, terrible ones. And like he's got it looks like every piece of Bret Hart merchandise that ever came out all on display in his home somewhere. And I was like, you, sir, are a bigger Bret Hart fan than I am. And it's like, do you ever have that where you're like Van Halen, like to you, where you're just like, you probably think like no one could love Van Halen more than I do.
Right.
But then you see these people and you go, oh, damn, this person really loves Van Halen more than I do. Because it is all encompassing in the sense where, like you said, you had Van Halen, you had wrestling, and you had stand-up. Mm-hmm. There are some people who... They have the one, and then that's it. That's all their focus. And then it's a special type of person too, who's able to uncover these things because they're like a detective almost to find these things. So, man. I
feel bad. It's amazing the amount of money I spent on bootlegs as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, before the internet, I would get like, Rolling Stone magazine or Metal Edge or Cream, which Cream magazine's
that was not a music magazine.
No, there was a rock and roll magazine.
That was
called
a dessert magazine.
No, there was a Cream magazine because they're doing a documentary about it. So
okay.
That just came out. And Jericho just had the people from the documentary on his show. But what I was trying to say is you go in and there's like a fan exchange or whatever. And people just like wrestling, with the Meltzers and stuff like that, tape traders.
Who?
I don't know. Seltzer. I said Seltzer.
Seltzer.
Hold on. There you
go.
There we go. Salute.
Yeah, that's 5 stars. All right. No, I'm sorry. Go back to your thing. I just have a bone to pick with Dave Meltzer. I was going to say
who doesn't? I like him, but come on, man.
My bone to pick, I'll just tell you real quickly. My bone to pick with him was I sent him the Meanie Toons and asked him to give us a star review on it. And he just...
lighthearted joke.
Lighthearted joke. Couldn't even play along. No. Just kayfabe the entire... he completely ignored me. But when I asked him an honest question once because he was going on and on about how how the greatest promos are done in Japan, and I asked, could you give me an example? He was quick to get a little, get his panties in a bunch about that.
He was quick to get his stonewashed jeans in a bunch.
You know what? He dresses like future Marty McFly. No, my other bone to pick with him, and I've only actually like met him, like said hello to him, I think once or twice. Very nice, whatever. I guess you can judge someone being nice by saying hi.
I don't hate Dave Meltzer.
I don't hate Dave Meltzer either.
I like Dave Meltzer.
There was this one time at
Nantucket.
Yeah,
no, go ahead.
We were at the press thing after. Maybe it was all. I guess it was All Out. It was after Jericho won the title for AEW because Calvin and I were there when Jericho did his thing where he's backstage yelling at everybody.
A little bit of bubbly.
Yeah, and then he goes into that room and does a little bit of the bubbly. What I didn't realize was they had some mic issues, so he had to redo it 2 more times. By the time he redid it, that was the take with a little bit of the bubbly. But when it was done the first time, we're like, all right, well, where do you want to go? They're done filming that. That was fun. And, because they had a bunch of people standing around, and, like, he went and yelled at us, and it was great. Part of history. Except then I wasn't part of history because the sound didn't work. So they had to do it again. So we went in. They asked us if we could go in with some of the press just to have, like, extra people. They were going to be doing some sort of thing with, I want to say it was with, like, Pac and or Pac or whatever, and
Biggie
and yeah, Pac and Hangman Page, I think it was.
Who the
so
fuck
we go
is
in there.
this? Oh, sorry, that's some spitting some Biggie.
We it's a joke in there. So no, so we go into this room and we're like, and Calvin and I are just standing there. We're like, okay, well, this will be fun. We'll get some stuff for Fight TV and we'll do, whatever. Meltzer walks in, doesn't have a microphone, doesn't have a camera, and the dude just stands.
Or fashion sense.
And the dude just walks in and stands directly in front of Calvin. Now, Calvin. Calvin is not a very tall man.
No.
Calvin's probably about 5'3", maybe 5'5". No, that's being too generous. He's about 5'3".
It's 5'6" in Japan. Yeah. If you're using Meltzer.
It's funny. He actually got shirts one time. He ordered from Japan because he couldn't find...
Meltzer or Calvin?
I'm sure both, but... But Calvin, at least, Calvin was doing it because his body type, he was like, I want some cool shirts that like fit me well. So he orders it. And I think the guy ended up having to fit into a Japanese large or something. It was, So, I mean, Calvin is literally big in Japan.
I'm a Japanese 8XL. So.
You're like Godzilla.
I ordered those, I probably shouldn't admit that I buy Fugazi football merch online, and it says XXX. I'm putting it on. I was like, in what fucking country is this a fucking XXX? I was like, do they have? I guess I have to get 8XL or whatever. I just give it to Tracy, and she just puts a belt on it and makes it a dress.
Of course, yeah. Well, she could take anything and turn it into like a nice.
She's creative.
Attire.
Yeah.
My buddy Matt Mangle, I've mentioned before.
Great name, by the way.
What's that?
Great name.
Oh, when he was wrestling, when he first started wrestling.
That's a wrestling name. I wouldn't even change my fucking name.
He was a part of the TWF, which we've talked about in the past, because he was a friend, back in high school and everything. Yeah. And that's what we were going through, trying to come up with names. And we're like, okay, Matt Mangle. And I was like, his name's Matt Mangle. that is his wrestling name, and that was it. He just spelled it. He just spelled it differently, and that was it. But Matt did color commentary with me for a couple of indie shows. We did the first ever Bruiser Brody Cup thing. It was
one Brody, one cup.
I think Tommy Dreamer won or something. I gave it to.
That was in Philly, right?
Yeah, that was.
I remember this now. There was a Bruiser Brody Cup in Philly. I'm like, who's running the show? Like I said,
if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all.
No. I'm being legit.
Yeah.
I'm being legit.
No, I'm saying for me. That's why I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, okay.
No, I will say something. So the thing is, the guy who was running it.
By the way, can you come over here and pat me on the back? This fucking seltzer stuck right in my chest.
Oh, you need me to burp you?
Burped.
Oh man, yeah, I can
Josh,
come
burp me, Josh.
There's a T-shirt. But no, but so the guy who was running the show, and it was a really fun show. I had a great time. I always enjoyed working his shows. They're a little, as they say, kabuki-ish sometimes. I mean, look, you have your levels of wrestling. He knows a lot of, the guy who ran the show knew a lot of people, had some great stars on the show, put together some good stuff, gave me an opportunity to do commentary. Will always be appreciative of that. Always had a great relationship with him. The last show we did, we had agreed upon a price, and he came to me and said,
you do with a promoter.
What's that?
As we most...
Yes.
I know where this is going, and you don't even have to tell it. You come up with a price.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, so here's the thing. He said, the whole deal was he'd get me, he was going to pay me like half or something before the show and whatever. I get to he never paid me anything up front. I get to the show.
Of course.
He's like, you know what? He goes to me and Matt, and he's like, I'm going to have to get you guys at the end of the show. I'm a little late now. I'll get you at the end of the show. He said, whatever. We worked with you so many times. Fine. Did the show. Had a great time. Always, a lot of fun. At the end of the show, he's like, you know what? He's like, is it okay if I just PayPal it to you tonight? And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I mean, he's always paid me before, you know.
Right.
Always had to give him a little reminder, but he always paid me. PayPal never comes that night. A week later, I sent him a message. I'm like, hey man, just wanted to circle back. I know I gave him the bet. I'm like, I know you've been super busy. Things come up. No big deal. I know you're good for it. Just wanted to make sure, really wanted to make sure that Matt and I were, taken care of before the next show and all that. And he had a million excuses. Oh, I'm so I told this person, you haven't gotten it yet. I can't believe, all that. 2 weeks later, I sent him a message. I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to be a dick, but come on. Like we had a deal. I'm taking time away from my family to go make this long ass drive it was like 2 hours to get there and, do this show. And I'm there all day and all that. Like the least you could do is just pay me. And again, even when I was there, I'm like, look, I understand things come up. I get it completely. I would love to know what's going on here. Same kind of, I can't believe it's taken care of tonight. It's going to be taken care of tonight. Another week goes by. At this point, I'm just like, listen, I'm giving you a heads up. I can't do more shows with you. I can't, I'm not going to, if this is how it's going to be, I can't do that unless you pay me 100% up front, because this is the time, Matt went on his anniversary, because he changed the date of the show, and Matt felt like, hey, I made a commitment. I know you changed the date on me, but I made a commitment, so I'm going to go anyway. Finally, he pays. Comes from someone else's PayPal, whatever, finally. And he said, I sent it and everything. I was like, yeah. I was like, hey, I'm sorry for giving you a hard time about it, man. I'm like, but I hope you understand, whatever. And he writes back, least you got it. So I wrote back to him, at least I didn't charge interest. And that was the last time I ever talked to him, because I felt that was, I was so polite and cool about it. It was so incredibly unprofessional. So that's the thing. I'm sure I'm never going to work with him again, but I don't care if he books me or not, because I don't want to work with him, because I felt that was just incredibly disrespectful.
It is.
For people who have done, I did the work already. It was there. I did, so yes, that was my story. But he had done the Bruiser Brody thing, and that was legit. I'll give him credit where it's due. That was, Bruiser Brody's widow was there. Stan Hansen was there. A lot of Abdul the Butcher was there, which was a great opportunity for me to get to meet him. A lot of great people. Tommy Dreamer being there,
I love Tommy.
And and it was. I love Tommy too. Every time I say hello to him, it's like we've met for the first time. He always but then he'll say something that makes me know that he remembers who I am. But he always at first I feel like we've never met before, but then he'll reference something. But no, Tommy's a great guy. But yeah, unfortunately I just had a bad situation too many times of having to ask for that. But that was,
dude. I did a show for Ian Rotten. I wasn't going to name him Bob. I'll name him because it's so ridiculous. It's funny. I did a show. I did a loop for him one weekend, and we did the first show. I worked with Tracy Smothers. It was awesome. We went and did the next show, and before the show, oh my God, I'm blanking. Either way, we're
live, pal.
Yeah, man, we're live, pal. Can't snip this out.
Yeah.
Before the show, he's like, "Hey, man, the show's a little light," which I love that. But he goes, "Oh, it's a little bit light. Can I give you half now, and then I'll send you a check once my what's that? Who's the big video company that did the
RF Video?
videos?
Is it RF Video?
K5 Video.
Oh, K5. Okay. I don't know.
Oh my God! Holy shit!
Holy
give me
shit.
2 seconds.
Holy shit. You fucked up. You fucked up.
Oh, shit.
Well, while you're gathering your thoughts on that.
Yeah, man. Today's
Hey, dude, my brain's all over the place at all times. But I can tell you one time I worked a show when I was wrestling, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Smart Mark Video.
Smart Mark Video, okay.
So I wrestled. Thank God I was. If I wasn't for the fact that I was wrestling Larry Sweeney, I'd be even more angry about it. So I got to wrestle Larry Sweeney, which was like a night off. Larry Sweeney. I wish he was. I mean, he's no longer with us, unfortunately, but one of the fucking most talented guys out there and the most entertaining guys. And we got to do a match where, and he fucking popped me because I go out there, do the Blue Meanie thing, and he comes out. He does his fucking entrance, and he's got these oversized fucking glasses on. So he comes in the ring, he whips off his glasses, and he's got the fucking Blue Meanie paint on his face, which I'm like, right? So we're working for Ian Rotten, and Ian goes, brother, how's a little light? Can I give you, like half now, and then, or I can wait for the Smart Mark Video money to come in. You know what? You flew me in. You paid me last night. Just send me it whenever.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. I'm not hurting. So time goes by. Money never comes. Hey, Ian, when you going to send that money? Oh, yeah. As soon as the check comes from Smart Mark Video, I'll send it. Okay. Then it kind of blows me off.
Maybe he thought that would
and then once,
take care of it.
Yeah, as promoters do. And it was like St. Patrick's. It's weird because it was St. Patrick's Day. Forget the year. But I get a call from Todd Gordon. So-and-so was supposed to do this show. It was Pro Wrestling Unplugged in Philly at the arena.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, hey, somebody couldn't make it. Can you come down and work the show? And it was going to be me and Gary Wolf against Ian and Axel Rotten. So I was like, absolutely, I'll be there. So, I'd worked for Ian. I forget when it was. But, like, a good period of time had gone by. And I'd show up in the locker room. Meanie, how you doing? Hey, I've been I tried to send you the check, and somebody stole my mail, and then they turned off my cable, and then my electric was about to get shut off. And then I realized somebody was stealing my mail. I was like, well, don't you have post office boxes, like a mail slot where you can just... I was like, whatever. And then, long story short, there's really no way to put a bow tie on it. Or
did he give you his payday?
Put a bow on the store. What's that? No, he still owes me the money. He's like, and for all the shit he talks about, like Paul and stuff like that, and people make jokes. Oh, Paulie never stiffed me. The only wrestling promoter that really stiffed me was Ian. So yeah, what are you gonna do?
I was trying to say before I worked a show once with Hacksaw Jim Duggan when I was wrestling, and could not have been a cooler guy. Sat there in the locker room with him, just like, just telling us stuff and everything.
Yeah.
Promoter comes in at the end of the night. Hey, just want to thank everybody so much. Listen, we were a little light tonight, so we're just gonna get you. We're gonna get you double on the next one. All right, thank you. I'm thinking to myself, Hacksaw Jim Duggan got taken care of. But yeah. So I mean, it happens, and that's
dude. I got so many stories like that. I was doing a show in Canada. Shout out to my boy Steve Goff, who's he's a Patreon elite.
Yeah.
I was doing a show in Canada. I was a little uneasy about it, so I reached out to him, and I was like, "The shows in Canada."
Canada's a frightening place, so
yes.
It's known for its.
So many igloos and. I don't know where that came from. The Igloo Meanie. Get on that Schlechter. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't do that shirt. Please don't do that shirt.
Do it.
So the show's in Canada. The details are sketchy. they're flying me into Detroit. I'm like, okay, so how am I getting to Canada? I looked it up. I was like, man, that's like an hour into Canada. You're flying me from Detroit. I'm getting no information about travel plans. So I reached out to my boy Steve Goff, who's in Detroit. Hey, man, you want to just hang out for the weekend? He's like, sure. So they fly me to Detroit. Steve picks me up. I stay at his house. I stay at Casa de Golf. I think that's the weekend. Like, we went out and bought Madden and just played Madden all night or whatever.
Nice.
So next day we go to drive to the show in Canada. Go to the show in Canada. All right, no, I'm getting a little goofy on this because somewhere along the line we run into Norman Smiley. It might have been at the airport,
as one often does.
Okay,
Where's your rewind button?
I'm going to hate myself for getting this wrong. So I fly in the day of the show. It's morning. We're running into Norman Smiley at the airport. Norman has no idea how he's getting to the show himself. Hop in with us, right? So me, Steve, and Norman are driving. We drive to the show. We get to the building, and we meet the promoter. This little guy looks like a mini Jesus kind of looking dude or whatever. Like, just whatever. Hey, how you doing? And it's pre-show, and me and Norman are watching him set up, and Norman Smiley goes, man, he's putting out a lot of chairs. This guy's putting out a lot of chairs. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So, and I'll send Norman Smiley a random text that goes, man, I think that guy's still putting out those chairs. And he goes, Meanie, how you doing? So we have the show, and I'm blanking on who I worked with, but it was a fun match. So we get back to the locker room, and Tito Santana and Greg Valentine are on the show. And Tino goes, somebody said the promoter is having a heart attack. Let's go find him. Or something like that. So me and Tito grabs me. I got, and we go find a promoter, and he gets like a money order from the promoter, whatever. He's like, and this is how quality of a human being Tito is. Tito gets the money order and tells me to take it because it's already paid. He's like, I'll get my money. I was like, all right, I left the room. I don't know what happened. But Tito made sure I got, paid that night. And the guy put out a lot of chairs. So there's a lot of them weren't full.
Yeah.
It's like this hockey arena in the middle of Canada. And there's so many shows like that where you make an agreement with somebody and they give you the excuse, sorry, brother, the house is late. And I go, but what were the demos? Dude, I saw a lot of 18 to 49ers out there.
It's all that matters. Down the street, they had a show. It was a sellout, but it was just a
dude. There's 20 people in the crowd, but I saw a couple of 18 to 49ers in there. I think
that's hilarious. Hey, I'll tell you, I it's funny you bring this up because this I had a really exciting day yesterday. So first of all, when I used to run shows, I ran shows in 2002, 2003, and 2007. And I always made sure that people got paid. And there were plenty of times that was just straight up out of my wallet, that people were getting paid. But I made sure that everyone's envelope was filled with the amount of money before we got to the building because it was my responsibility to sell out that show. They're not walking around giving out flyers. They've given me their name, and that's part of the price of booking them is that name to attract people to come in. It was my decision to book them. That's it. A lot of people don't feel the same way, but I'm proud of the fact that anyone who ever worked for me, who some of them have gone on to a lot of success, they will all tell you that I always paid them.
Right.
In 2007, I went to OVW and stopped running my own show because my buddy Kevin Keenan, who's a referee, basically
shout out to Kevin.
What's that? Yeah.
Shout out to Kevin. Kevin's a good dude.
Yeah. And Kev was down in OVW at the time. And he just goes to me when he saw, because Kevin, I gave him his first match, was one of the shows I was promoting. And
awesome.
And he says to me, he's like, dude, he's like, I see you're running again. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, come down to OVW. And I'm like, well, I've been doing whatever. And that's what we got, though. I won't get into that whole thing, but he basically was the encouragement. It was very helpful to get me down to OVW. So that show, we had other shows planned. We stopped. We didn't do any other ones. But we had this lockbox, this big like cash register that was connected to like a computer and all that. This is back in 2007. So this was gigantic. It's not like today where you have the little, square thing.
Right.
And it had a little lock on it. Well, I found it yesterday while cleaning out my basement because we're going to be doing my basement. And I've talked before how we're going to be setting up a little studio and home office for me down there. I found this lockbox and I said, you know what? Today is the day, because I could always hear a little change in it if you shook it.
Yeah.
I opened that thing up, trying to get the number right in my head. I found in all ones $146.
Nice. That
was the final amount of money that I had from, and this was not from the tickets. This was from like merchandise and food. And really I think it was a summer show and we sold lots of water bottles, but that was, so yesterday, I mean, the money doesn't smell good. Feels like maybe, it's been, I don't know what's been happening. I've been carting this thing around since 2007 in various storage facilities but it's, but yeah, I got that money. And what was so cool about it was the money that was left over from my, what you could consider failed attempt at promoting wrestling. People showed up, maybe it wasn't failed, but the less than overwhelmingly successful attempt to be a professional wrestling promoter, that money I'm going to bring this Thursday to my airbrush artist when I go to pick up my tie that I will be wearing on Alternative Commentary August 23rd live on Fight TV. So that is the money. I looked at it, I said, you know what? That's kind of cool that I'm going to be able to use that money
and
to
reinvest.
Pay her. What's that?
You're going to reinvest it.
Yes. So I'm going to use that money, which to me seems cool, until she goes, oh, so you're paying me in all ones and these smell bad. So I might actually stop by the bank first and try and see if I can't
She's like, I thought strip clubs are closed.
Yeah. Not in my house. And then by that, I mean, sometimes I take my clothes off to take a shower. Sometimes I do it every day. But
well,
sometimes,
sometimes it's so hot in my house that when I get out of the shower, I have to go back in the shower to take another shower. Because once I get out of the shower, I start sweating.
Seriously, man.
I don't have like central air or anything. And it's just like, holy shit, I need another shower. Let me get back in the shower.
But you know what we do have? We both have refrigerators. And you know what we've been keeping in our refrigerators, Meanie? We've been keeping some Eat Right lifestyle delivery meal plan meals.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Oh, and you know what?
We've had a lot of good sponsors, but this one has been
none of them
delicious.
Gave us food.
None of them, but they're just delicious. So,
we love them all, but yes. Man, Eat Right. So I have here, I actually saved a little bit of mine still here that I can eat while we talk about Eat Right. Because I was eating before we went on the air, and then I didn't. So
mine's in the freezer. Should I chew on it?
Yeah, allow me to grab a Brussels sprout. It's actually delicious.
I think I'm banned from eating Brussels sprouts in my house. But
yep.
Hey, dude, seriously, while you chew that, EatRight.life has been fantastic. Dude, it's one thing to get food in the mail, but they get food that's so well prepared, and one of my big problems with food is portions. With EatRight.life, I don't have to worry about portion control.
Nope.
It's all laid out. It's all calculated. And by the time I just, heat it up and go to eat it, it tastes just like it's a home-cooked meal. As I see Josh enjoying it over there.
Can you hear me chew?
No. Thank God I'm not chewing because my jaw clicks when I chew. But, dude, seriously. I bet with EatRight.life, it's so convenient. They send you a text. You set up an account with EatRight.life, and they send you a text. and you click on the link they send, and you just select your meals for today. You get, right now I've been selecting 2 meals a day, and that's it. And then within 2 days, I get a nice big box in the mail with all this food that's in dry ice. It's like a little silver bag. They keep it cool. It comes to you nice and cold, and you just pop it in the fridge. And then for the next 5 days, you got lunch and dinner, and you don't have to plan anything. There's no thought process. The only thought process is, what delicious food do I want to eat? What am I going to select? And every week it's a different menu. So this week I had a lot of. I like to do chicken and steak, and there's different varieties of chicken and steak. If you want to eat the same thing every day, you can, but there's so many different options. Between the chicken and steak. I'm a big mark for meatballs. They have some really good meatball dinners on there and stuff like that. To come in rice or different seasonings and stuff like that. So you're not eating the same old thing, And people go, "Oh man, it's like a TV dinner." It's absolutely not like a TV dinner. This is like real food. And
it has it has plastic on top of it, and
it's vacuum
don't take that plastic off before you microwave it. Right. Because it creates like a steaming device. It looks like it's about to explode, but it's supposed to do that. And it basically steams your food so it is so fresh by the time it's never frozen. They keep it cold, but it's never frozen. It's so fresh. Man, this worked out beautifully because we had to go on the air here, and I hadn't finished my lunch yet. And I thought, you know what? Maybe Meanie will want to talk about it, and I'll eat it so the people on Patreon are watching me. It'll be like a fun gimmick, but really I'll just get to finish my lunch that's been sitting in front of me. This was perfect, and it was delicious, and I hope you saw how I just devoured that. It was so, so good. And that's Brussels sprouts, folks, that I just ate. And that's how good this food is, that I just cleaned my plate.
Dude, I'm a mark for Brussels sprouts. Don't talk shit on Brussels sprouts.
I know, but people don't like them normally. I love them. I love Brussels sprouts. There are 3 kinds that I'll have. This is delicious.
Any kind of green.
My wife makes a mean Brussels sprout. And then there's one from this sushi restaurant where they'll send it, and it is just soaked in grease, but it is so good. You get the old sodium sweats under your eyes. It's fantastic. But but unlike Eat Right, it is not healthy for you. Eat Right, however, is incredibly healthy. These are prepared with a healthy lifestyle in mind. Eat Right is a veteran-owned lifestyle meal company that offers an array of customizable products, including conventional meals, ketogenic coalitions. Did I say that right? Coalitions? Collations? I'm reading, folks, and I don't know how to do that too good.
You can't eat right after you have a good meal.
No,
a good meal like Eat Right. You just want to go, do something. But, here we are.
But unfortunately, we're here talking to all of you. No, plant-based alternatives, which is what I'm enjoying right now. Healthy protein donuts, which they have yet to send me, and I'm going to send a strongly worded email. And I mean, I haven't ordered them yet, so I can't really blame them. But and breakfast to satisfy all lifestyles. They know the importance of transparency and technology in modern life. So each meal includes a barcode with every single meal, allowing its members to track every step of their progress on MyFitnessPal. So if you're somebody who's really counting those calories, your life just became so much easier. Currently, the company prepares 13,000 meals in the Tampa Bay area, as well as shipping statewide in Florida into Dallas, Fort Worth. As part of that, and that's, I mean, they're in this 13,000 square foot certified kitchen. And that's part of how quickly they're growing. After only 9 months in business, they rapidly grew and launched a second market in Dallas, Texas. They're growing, and you want to get in on the ground floor. As part of the growing operations, they partner with various health and wellness companies to supply an alternative form of healthy and nutritious meals for their members. So every delectable dish that a member buys, they will donate a meal to local charities such as Feeding America, Feeding Tampa Bay, and North Texas Food Bank, that's incredible. So now you're not only is it veteran-owned, not only is it freaking delicious, but every time you buy something, they're giving food to charity, to people who truly need it. Look, time is money. If you're trying to achieve that healthy lifestyle, that healthy goal, 2 minutes in the microwave. That's it. It's 2 minutes in the microwave. This is for you. So many different options. They've been seen all over the place on Fox 13 News, Daytime TV, Bloom TV, NBC, all over the place. But what we want you to do right now is we want you to check out the website. We want you to go to www.eatright.life, and we want you to use the promo code Meanie and save not 10%, not 20%, not 30, 40, or even 50%, but 60% off your first week by using the promo code Meanie. That is offensively a good deal. That is too good not to try. So go right now to eatright.life, promo code Meanie, save 60%. Also, make sure to visit them on social media at Time to Eat Right. That's Time to Eat Right, the number 2. Time to Eat Right. We thank them so much for sponsoring us. I thank them for my lunch today and yesterday and tomorrow. And I am absolutely in love with this food and this service. Incredible company, incredible people. So go now, eatright.life, promo code Meanie, save 60%.
Dude, seriously.
Do it.
It's some of the best food I've had, you know. Look, Mrs. Meanie's a great cook. Mrs. Meanie makes me some of the most delicious food. But when she can't get to me and, you know, make me a meal, you know, I'll pop in one of these dinners, and it's just fantastic and stuff like that. So, you know, if you follow me on social media, I've been posting my meals every day, trying to, you know, put over just how good this food looks. It looks fantastic, but tasty, better. You mentioned their social media. They're also on Facebook at Eat Right Meal Plans, because I keep having to remind myself there's Facebook. You know,
So
I
that's
always
the thing. They're
focus on
Eat Right.
Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook, their Eat Right Meal Plans is their name, but I believe you can go to facebook.com/time to eat right, and that'll bring you to that.
Absolutely. I just
So
want to
yeah,
make sure
so that's
all
two ways to search them. We're hooking you up with how to find this company because they're incredible.
I really want people to, you know, check these folks out, man, because it's really good. It's so delicious. And like I said, if a fat guy says something tastes good, it's like a good stock tip. So, and that's shoot.
Yeah.
So, you know what's convenient too, with everybody quarantining and not wanting to leave the house, they bring the food right to your house.
Yeah.
So that's one less thing you have to go out for in this certain uncertain time. So if you don't want to leave the house, they'll bring the food to you. So that's another bonus, you know.
One of the things I want to talk about now is I want to talk about alternative commentary, 7 p.m. on Fight TV. As you're listening to this on Monday when the podcast drops, we're talking this Sunday for SummerSlam. So I want to push this hard because it's the last time we got to push it, and we want to give you look. We're talking to the Pod Squad now, so you guys you've been listening to us. Some of you've been listening to us from the very beginning. We appreciate it. You know what you're getting with myself, and more importantly, the Blue Meanie. So we don't have to do a hard sell, but what I can tell you is it is going to be a blast. We are going to have so much fun.
Almost too much fun.
Definitely too much fun, I think. So join in for the first and probably only, once we get canceled, live alternative commentary, 7 p.m. on Fight TV. We will be, I believe our feed will probably be kicking off possibly 10 minutes earlier, so you'll see a nice little thing. And some people who are watching this now, there was a little oopsie, if you will, on my part, and I hit a button that switched our decorations on the screen here from Mind of the Meanie to alternative commentary. So for a split second, you got to see what the show's going to look like. Some lower thirds, things like that popped up. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a really good time. And we're going to be watching SummerSlam. And one of the things that I think, Meanie, for me is so exciting about this is, well, it's twofold. Number one, as show creators, we really have no idea what the content's going to be that we're talking about because we don't know what's happening at SummerSlam. And the other side of it is, as a fan, I get to sit back. This is the first time ever you and I have watched a pay-per-view together. And that's a lot of fun. That seems like a lot of fun. And that's really, I think, the selling point. It's called alternative commentary because we are giving you an alternative to just watching the regular pay-per-view. But I want you to think of it as though you walk into a bar to watch SummerSlam, and there's the Blue Meanie just sitting there with some random guy wearing a custom tie, and he waves you over and says, hey, come on, sit with me. You want to watch the pay-per-view together? And people say, yeah, that sounds great, Meanie. And he goes, drinks on me. And they go, wow, the Blue Meanie's such a great guy. But anyway, we went off topic there. That's what we want. We want that feeling. We've always wanted it. Like you're in the car with us, like you're just hanging out with us. Well, now it's going to be like you're sitting there and you've got the Blue Meanie coming over to your house, sitting there in the bar with you, wherever it is that you normally would watch your pay-per-view, and you got the Blue Meanie sitting with you. We are going to, I'm almost positive that we are going to have a chat going on Fight TV. So if anybody wants to interact with us, we'll be able to talk to you. We'll read some of your things that you have to say, unless I can't figure out how to make that work. And, but
we're live, pal.
Tune in and find out.
This is all brand new to us. So, like you said, it's like the bar setting. Like one of my favorite things to do, for me and Mrs. Meanie, we love to go to the bar and watch, any kind of event, whether it's a sporting event, award show, or whatever. And we always have our own like little running commentary going, and I'm always there to pop the room and stuff like that. So when we're gonna be watching SummerSlam, my goal along with Josh is just be entertaining. One of my favorite things is Mr. Science Theater 3000.
Yep.
And just to add the extra little the fun facts or just opinion or just jokes, like whatever come to mind is just like this podcast. I'm just going to spit it out.
Yep.
And there's going to be a lot of toothpaste I won't be able to put back in the tube once it's out there because it's live. There's no takebacks. I can't go, hey, cut that out in post. No. What I say during SummerSlam is what's going out there into the universe.
Yeah.
And,
if we say timestamp that's just because we want to be able to commemorate the time that we ruined our careers. So, and this is the best thing too. Meanie's gonna say something, and it's like you can just you'll picture it. Vince McMahon is there going, "Time to make calls for next year's Hall of Fame. What's the Meanie's number?" And then Meanie says something. He goes, "Nope." Hangs it up, and that's it. So join us as we ensure that the Meanie never gets his rightful due as a member of the WWE. I don't know. We're not going to say anything bad, right? We wouldn't say anything bad.
Look, I don't go into any situation looking to bury something.
No.
Or just talk shit. I'm just going to give honest opinion, In
fact, we might even end up trying to make lemonade out of SummerSlam's potential lemons. So if something really bad happens, maybe we can have more fun trying to convince you that what you watched was good.
Yeah. No, but seriously. I love watching wrestling. And one of the things Mrs. Meanie always says is she's learned so much about wrestling just from watching me talk about wrestling, because I'll point out little intricacies and stuff like that. Or like there's some things I see in wrestling and I'll sell for it, and she'd be like, "What?" I'd be like, "Oh, that could have went really bad right there." There's a lot of things where I see a potential bad bump coming. I'm like, "Oh."
Yep.
You might hear a lot, it's shit like that, because I know as a performer that could have been really bad right there, and they pulled out a miracle at the last second and stuff like that. So I'm gonna look to offer a lot of that stuff like that. When I was I like to say when I was coaching at the Monster Factory, I'm still a coach there. It's just with everything that's going on, I haven't been there, but like we would watch matches and I would give live match critiques and stuff like that. So just to hopefully better it and stuff like that. But I'll be watching along with you and the fans, and hopefully I can add some insight. And there's different. There's so much, like doing this podcast. We're doing it live and stuff like that. There's so much to watching a wrestling match live, and just seeing what they're trying to figure out the psychology of it and stuff like that. And We're going into it blind, just like everybody else going into it.
Yeah.
People are going, "Oh, kayfabe's dead." I was like, well, 60,000 people used to fly to WrestleMania not because they knew the finishes. They wanted to see how the match ends.
Yeah, I don't watch scripted TV shows because I think that this is a documentary. I want to be told. I want to be told a story and to enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to the pay-per-view. And I'm looking forward to even more because this opportunity for us to be able to do alternative commentary live on Fight TV. It's free. So what we're selling you is we're giving you 3 hours or 10 hours, whatever they decide to do for SummerSlam. We're giving you that for free.
Right.
So go listen.
A little
watch.
heads up though. When you go to Fight TV, create an account.
Yes, which again is free, and there's no trick to it. There's no you can opt out of any emails or whatever it is, but you got to create the account. So go now, create the account, and then you can actually set like a reminder. You can find alternative commentary on there, and you'll be able to set a reminder. And it'll just pop up. The best thing that I would say is if you're watching the pay-per-view on your TV, put us on a tablet or on your phone or something, have us off to the side, and put some headphones in your ear. So you're watching TV and you're listening to us, and you can go and watch us. We'll kind of give you the heads up if there's something we think you should be turning your head and looking at of us on the screen. But I would say do that. If you're choosing not to, and this is a big one, there's an audience. There was someone out on social media who said they are not going to be watching SummerSlam, but they will be watching us. That's pretty cool. And we are going to be playing to that audience as well. The people who are expecting us to paint that picture for you of what it is that's on the screen. So I'm excited about this. I think this is going to be so much fun. And then, this is the first of hopefully many. But one other thing I want to talk about as it relates to alternative commentary is this won't actually be the first ever alternative commentary, even though we'll probably say that 1,000 times. Because tomorrow, or yesterday, if you're listening to this on Monday, tomorrow we will be recording live on Patreon the first ever alternative commentary, which is a watch along. That's what people know it as. We call it alternative commentary, and we will be doing that. So today, anyone who's watching this now on Patreon, today is your final day to vote. If you're an elite member, to vote for which event we are going to watch. Meanie doesn't even know what's in the lead. He doesn't. It's going to be.
This is going to sound condescending, but I don't want to know what we're going to watch until we watch it, and I want to watch it with a fresh. I mean, I'm sure I've seen it before, but I want to just watch it and be surprised along with everybody else. And I'm going to give my live to tape, opinions and commentary and stuff like that, and trying to paint a picture. Yeah, that's what we're going to try to do with alternative commentary, whether it's on Fight or with our Patreon folks. Like my favorite thing to do is watch a sporting event, but I'll listen to the radio feed because the people on radio paint such a better picture of what's going on. There's some, Scott Fransky for the Phillies. When he talks, I can picture the blades of grass in Citizens Bank Park. What I want to do with Patreon and Fight with the alternative commentary is paint that photo of what's going on. So I don't know what we're going to be watching tomorrow, but we're going to have some fun with it. And
There's
I'm going
still
to try
time
to give my inside opinion.
And the fun thing is, I think there's like 2 Patreon members who haven't voted yet, and they're the swing vote. Like they have the power to switch it if they want to, because it was really neck and neck between 2 of the 4 options. So, so jump on there and vote. You paid for the right to do it, so do it. And if you're not a Patreon member, join us. We're having a blast, and things are really starting to pick up over there. Business is starting to pick up, as a commentator would say, who definitely is a better commentator than me. And we are not trying to replace the commentators. We are just an alternative to the commentary.
Absolutely.
But check all of that out. Meanie?
Yes, sir.
I was thinking, would you like to ask Meanie anything?
Let's do it. It's time to ask me anything.
There it is.
You tease.
All right. we got a bunch of things here. I really wanted to do. We've been getting such great questions.
This is like one of my favorot segments because
Yeah.
I like not knowing what's coming. Like we do not plan the show one bit, except for you tell me what ad we're going to do. And other than that, it's just what the fuck's going to stick.
Yep.
So when we do the Ask Meanie Anything, I love not knowing. Little for folks who listen to the podcast and on Patreon and all that stuff, when the Ask Meanie, when the Mind of the Meanie account says we're going to ask Meanie anything, please don't tag me in it because I don't want to know what questions are coming. I don't want the spoiler, because I don't want to have a chance to overthink my answer.
Yeah. When
the question comes to me on Ask Meanie Anything on Mind of the Meanie podcast, I don't want to see what's coming. So I want to give, off the top of my head.
He wants it to be like SummerSlam. You'll never see it coming, which is their tagline, apparently. Ryan Maurer emailed us over at mindofthemeanie@gmail.com. So you can always ask your questions that way too. We're available via email. Ryan asked, since the BWO was a parody of the NWO and the NWO added more members, was there ever any talk of adding more people to the BWO? And if so, who was it and who would they have been? And if not, is there anyone you would have liked to have had seen added to the BWO?
Eventually we kind of did with BWO Japan. We added Taka Michinoku, Mensteo, and Dick to go.
Yes, but I think the idea is because that was more, they weren't parodies of anybody.
Oh.
So I think what he's going for, at least how I read it, was he wants to know, okay, you've got Hollywood Nova's Hollywood Hogan, Big Stevie is Kevin Nash, and the blue guy, Scott Hall. And then, of course, you also had, at one point, you had 7-Eleven, and then you had the, what did he call him? Like the inchworm or whatever. It was supposed to be like Dennis Rodman. So there was like a little bit of that, but I think he's expanding upon that. Maybe a spoof on Buff Bagwell and Big Papa Pump, a spoof on, and I don't even know if the years are lining up for some of those guys, but there were so many NWO. Macho Man was in the NWO. The Giant was in the NWO. The Giant, to me, right off the bat, just thinking this right now, I would have found a midget wrestler.
Yeah.
And had him be the Giant. But anyway, and Hornswoggle has said that the term midget is what makes money, so it's not offensive to say midget wrestler.
I've tried to refrain from using the term midget. But,
so did I, but Hornswoggle has said that he does not find it to be offensive because midget wrestlers that's like the gimmick.
Yeah.
So
historically speaking, you could say midget wrestlers because that's what they were called. So
I don't know what is the proper term because I don't mean this to be funny.
I try to say minis. When it comes to wrestling, I try to say minis.
See, and I always wondered like mini or like little people, like I feel like little people's like more like, no, I'm a full fucking person. I don't care how tall I am. I'm not a little bit of a person.
Almost, saying little person, like that's like you're speaking town. Listen here, little person.
Yeah,
it sounds.
I'm a big
mean.
person. That's what I'm saying. Like, so right. I've never really been sure. So blanket statement.
I never want to offend anybody.
Blanket statement. We're not trying to offend anybody.
You got to help me out. You got to give me a fucking clue here.
Yeah. So tweet us. And let us know. And I'm not kidding about this. Tweet us and let us know if you happen to be that person. Because I don't even know what to say now. Let us know. How would you like to be referred to as? Mini, midget, little person, Tom. Maybe you might just want to be referred to by your name because you're just a human being. But anyway, you get my point. But yeah, so anybody, was there ever any talk or is there anyone looking back that you wish you could have added?
But before I lose this thought to the ether, one time Raven found Kimono Wanalea to bring in the ECW. And at the time she had a boyfriend. I think his name's Brian Angel, and he was into the business for a little bit after this. But he had long curly hair, and Raven was joking that he was going to bring him out as Benny G, Kenny G's cousin, because he had a little bit of a resemblance. And he was going to just like, it would be like Ferris Bueller's Day Off when he tries to play the clarinet or whatever. It's like, and he was going to just have him come out and then like maybe Sandman cane him or something like that. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem by Benny G, and then, like somebody sat on a fucking bicycle horn or something like that. But that never came to be. But speaking of parodies that weren't. As far as expanding the BWO, no. I wish I had a better answer. It was a good question. Very, really good question. But, we did 7-Eleven, which that went through phases. Why he was like, at one point, I think he was Pi, like 3-point, whatever. We would put like duct tape on the back of his jacket with different numbers, but eventually we settled on 7-Eleven. And then we had, Thomas the Inchworm Rodman, who we found on an indie show. I don't know who found. I think I found him on a Baltimore indie show, and he was interesting. So
any fun stories about the inchworm?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He, last I heard, years ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, he was telling people he was an agent for TNA Wrestling and WWE simultaneously, which anybody who knows, cool off here for a second. So I am very warm. It's virtually impossible to work for TNA and WWE at the same time, but yet yes. He would tell people. And then I would reach out to people in TNA and be like, hey, is Thomas Rodman working there? And I swear to God, one wrestler was like, dude, he shows up and he says he's this big time guy, like agent and stuff, but he just shows up and sets up the ring. And it's just like, I don't get it. So, yeah. He works for the airline, so he flies all over for free, But he tells people, he'll take photos of himself sitting in the first class seat of a plane he's working on, saying flying to the next town. It's like,
he's a worker.
Yeah, he's definitely a worker.
He's a worker.
Successful is debatable,
right?
But I
don't know who he's working, but he's
dude. One day he just went off on me about something online and blocked me and talked all this. And he has like this alter ego. Like, I'm not making this up. No. He has this alter ego. What's the name? Marquis Garmon. Like, he has this alter ego. Like, there was like a Twitter and a Facebook, like where like if somebody was arguing with him, he's like, Marquis, get this fool, and then like this this account would pop out of nowhere. No photo, like Facebook or Twitter, no photo, and like say mean stuff to people. And we're like, eventually we called him out on it. Me, Stevie, and Nova were at the Orlando WrestleCon.
How is he spelling this name? What is this?
Marquis, Marquis. Mm-hmm. Garmon, Garmon. And it was, eventually everybody realized it was Thomas Rodman with this fake alter ego account where he would just, like somebody.
He might not be on there anymore.
No, he's definitely gone because people figured it out. But there's he was like, Marquis is like this, like his alter ego, which we eventually found out was him, was supposedly this big shot behind the scenes. Dude, I'll have to send you this.
Yeah.
Thomas Rodman would post photos of him, like Photoshop. Ever see a flyer for a show, and It looks like a movie poster. Yeah.
It's rocking, just stealing your gimmick right there.
Pretty much. I hate that I'm putting him over this much.
Yeah.
Like, I try not to talk about him, but I'll do it for the Patreon. I'll do it for the Pod Squad. But, dude, like, he would have these big... I'm trying to do the setup where, like, everybody uses the same guy to do their show posters, but he would do show posters of him with, like, John Cena, Randy Orton, all these big-name wrestlers, and then it would be him.
Wow.
He ditched the Thomas Rodman thing, and he became Dr. Nicholas Tesla. It said Nicholas Tesla.
Yeah.
And he had this doctor's overcoat, a stethoscope, and he would pose like with the finger to his head, like he was smart.
Wow.
I'm not saying he's stupid, but so. But the best one, and the photos are out there. Eventually, and he did this. It was all these John Cena, all the big names from TNA, WWF, like, and at the bottom would be him as Dr. Nicholas Tesla going, pointing to his head. Mm. He was trying to tell people he represented. He was like all these, he was the behind the scenes manager for these names, and it wasn't true.
Jeez.
And my favorite one, I still have in my phone, is Thomas Rodman as Dr. Nicholas Tesla holding Grumpy Cat. He purported to be the manager of Grumpy Cat.
Hey, we all have goals in life, but
I'm not making any of this up. There's people who can corroborate this.
Man.
Because one time...
Well, it's good to know his career took off after...
Well, he works for the airlines.
Yeah, so. It's all right. So he's making a living, but yeah. I see. Took off. I see what you did there.
Yeah. He's like a mechanic for planes or whatever. He was in the military. Salute him. And he was in ECW for like a cup of coffee. And I'll never forget, like... Stevie Raymond left for WCW, Stevie left for WCW, and then we did the angle with Taz where Taz essentially killed off the BWO. Like, we came to the ring, Taz suplexed us, ripped our BWO shirts off, and he suplexed Thomas Rodman, and Jesus Christ, this fucking fly, man! I swear to God,
just eat it already. It's flying around your mouth.
This is the high quality content you get on Patreon for $5 a month. So it's on Hardcore TV. Me, Nova, and Rodman come to the ring. Essentially, this is going to kill the BWO. Taz slaps Rodman, suplexes Nova, whatever. He suplexes Rodman out of his shoes. We rips off the BWO. BWO's dead. It's just going to be me and Nova. 2 minutes after getting suplexed by Taz in the ring, and I think he choked him out, Rodman puts on the street clothes and goes out to the concession stand and gets in line with the fans to buy a hot dog. Oh. After Taz, the main event of Barely Legal, the suplex machine, the Kad the Hajime.
How did Taz feel about that?
Taz was pretty hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go back. This was in Asbury Park. We go to the arena. And, like, before the show, Tracy Smothers would get all the boys in the ring, do calisthenics, run spots, teach us, all that good stuff. Tracy Smothers, unsung hero of VCW. So Rodman's there, and he's putting on his gear, and Nova walks up to him and goes, "We don't need you anymore. You're good. Get dressed." And essentially Nova fired him from ECW, and he just never showed up again.
Wow.
But I would occasionally see him here and there, and he was always putting like the photo you just sent me. He would have his BWO photo, and I was always kind and courteous to him. Mm-hmm. And then, like, this whole thing with the alter ego of Marquis and being Dr. Nicholas Tesla, and then he was start talking shit about me, Stevie and Nova. And then eventually we're at the Orlando WrestleCon, and he comes up and goes to shake her hands, and we're like, no, nah, we're good.
Man.
See ya.
Yeah.
It's just like these are the characters you run the characters you run into wrestling and stuff like that, and just
not to cut you off, but we just got a Devin Miller Patreon member. Just said, "Hey guys,
hey, what's up?
Hello." So,
Mr.
hey Devin, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, dude,
brush your teeth, Devin. You don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's DJ. What's his name? It's that God, what is that? Geico commercial?
What the what commercial?
The Geico commercial.
Oh, okay.
Where the guy's like brushing his teeth. It's like you get DJ whatever the hell is a motivational speaker. Brush your teeth, Devin. Another one. Another one.
I was like, why are you berating our?
Don't give up. I want to find it. Hold on.
Now you got to play it for me.
Yeah. I don't know. What's that dude's name?
Dude, let me see if I can find that grumpy cat photo of Dr. Nicholas Tesla.
It's DJ Khaled. Here he is. Hold on. Let me see.
Oh, okay. That guy reminds me of Taz.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Hold on.
Yo, Devin, remember to brush in a circle motion. Another one.
Oh, I'm sorry, Devin. He says I get that all the time now.
Sorry, Devin.
But yeah, that's what
he gets. That I'm sure many Karen hate the fucking.
Oh, dude, I'd hate
Karen
to be named
thing.
Karen right now, or even Kevin, because Kevin's the male Karen.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a. Oh, by the way, I realized I cut myself off from my story about Dave Meltzer. So Calvin, not a very tall guy, right? Dave Meltzer walks in, no camera, no microphone, no anything,
right,
and just stands right in front of Calvin.
Why not?
Just cuts in front of everybody, stand right in front of him, just so he could get a nice shot of Hangman's, we'll say knee pad. But so it was just like, he's just standing there. I guess he's taking mental notes so that he can have, he can remember at least 25% of it when he reports it. But that was me. Meanie didn't say it. That was me. Anyway, hey, another question for you.
No fucks given. Go ahead.
What?
No fucks given. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anthony Camarata on Facebook. He's a top fan of ours over there. Appreciate you, Anthony. I always wondered, with the Blue Meanie gimmick being billed from Pepperland and looking so much like the Blue Meanie from Yellow Submarine, since that is where the gimmick came from, were there any legal hurdles such as copyright or trademark infringement for Blue Meanie or ECW that they had to deal with?
No.
ECW didn't. They just ignored any copyrights whatsoever when it came to things like their music and stuff.
Yeah. And everybody gets on ECW for, they played music illegally. A lot of promotions did that back.
Yeah. Well, also remember, technically they didn't, I don't think, because they played it on the house. They didn't pipe it through. They played it to the house.
But they would do like November Rain. You know, they would do the thing like with the song November Rain for November to Remember.
That's how I first heard November Rain as a kid. Honestly.
Dude, I swear to God, ECW was a lot. ECW introduced me to a lot of music. That, like, I remember they did a video package for Sabu to Alice in Chains' Grind. Something, I think it was Grind. I went, holy shit, there's new Alice in Chains? And after the show ended, I ran down to South Street to Tower Records and bought the new Alice in Chains. I didn't know it was going to be out because of ECW. I
learned about Alice in Chains from Tommy Dreamer, from his theme music, from Man in the Box, you know? Yeah, so it's Perfect Strangers. Who the hell is that? Deep Purple? Is that who did it?
Yep.
Yeah, Shane Douglas's music. And so, yeah, like a lot of it for me, like I didn't know very much. I enjoyed that style of music, but I didn't really like follow it. Right. So ECW introduced me to a lot of Pantera, like a lot of those bands, like all came from ECW songs. But who was behind that? Who came up with the musics?
I honestly don't know. There was a point where ECW was linked to some company. They were always in the end credit, like music by whatever. I forget who. Q Prime maybe, I don't know. But yeah, a lot of it was just like Paulie finding music, or I honestly don't know. You know,
I mean, I'm sure some of the boys had, you know.
Oh yeah,
could just come up with what, you know, and suggest their own theme or whatever.
Well, like I told you the story of the BWO theme, and me just going up to Paul with a cassette saying, "Hey man, this is the BWO theme." He's like, "All right," you know, and that was about it. Like when I came back to ECW as the Blue Boy, which I hated the name, but he wanted me to come out to that song Blue. Mm-hmm. I was like, "Oh, that song's horrible," you know. And I know a lot of people pitched it to me. People think I should use it, but for that character, I didn't want that song.
Right.
Because I told the story of how my boy Dell introduced me to the Revolting Cock song, Do You Think I'm Sexy, which is a cover of Rod Stewart's Do You Think I'm Sexy. I was like, this song's much more sleazier for what I'm trying to do and stuff like that. This is the perfect song.
Who came up with the Blue Boy name? Was that you or somebody
that
else?
Was just him. That was Paul.
Why? So...
Because I wanted to come back as a Blue Meanie, but I didn't look like the Blue Meanie anymore. You know?
Yeah, and so, but couldn't, I mean, I understand, I guess, in some regards, not being the Blue Meanie because in essence, you could always go back to the Blue Meanie because now you're something else. That Blue Meanie will always be associated with that other character. But at the same time...
That's aesthetic, the look of the
Right,
Blue
but at the
Meanie.
same time, I mean, you easily could have been the Blue Meanie. You still could have been the Blue Meanie, and, you know... Right. I don't know, but why did you hate it so much? Just because it was not a...
I just don't know why I hated the name. I don't know. There was no... I'm like,
It was, I mean, didn't stand out the same way.
Right.
But
plus I'd been doing the Blue Meanie name for so long. Like, every character's evolved, you know, and had different looks and stuff like that.
Like The Undertaker. The Undertaker to the American Badass Undertaker. I mean, he's still the Undertaker. He's still, I mean, he's Taker now, just walking down the street. You know, so yeah. I mean, you're Meanie. I call you. When was
been the Blue Meanie? Still, I easily still could have been a Blue Meanie, but you know, people looking at me,
it's the fun.
I looked way different.
It's the funny thing in like the wrestling business and all. It's always been confusing of who to. You know, that's why I'm so glad I just use my real name. You know, because it's just easier. Yeah. But like, when was I call you Meanie? I don't ever really call you anything.
That's what everybody calls me.
Yeah, it's never like. It was like in the beginning when I first met you, I called you Blue Meanie. It was like almost like Blue Meanie was the same as like Mr. Meanie, like being respectful.
Right.
And then as we became friends, and I decided to be as disrespectful as possible. No, but as we got to know each other, it just, you know, I just naturally found myself calling you Meanie. If I get a text from you or something and I say something like to, you know, or like if I'm going to say something to my wife, like, oh, I just got a text. I say, I got a text from Meanie, you know, like it's how it's just.
That's how everybody is, man. And like people go, what do you want to be called? I was like, dude, seriously, my whole life, this is going to be another fucking 20 minutes here, but my whole life I've had nicknames. You know, it really started maybe around 8th grade. I met my buddy Justin Daniels, who now owns Farpoint Toys in Jersey. Go support him.
Yep.
He just called me Hef, like because after Hugh Hefner, you know, because we had just like that Beverly Hills Cop came out where Eddie Murphy's character Axel Foley goes to the Playboy Mansion. He goes Hef. So every day he would greet me, like Eddie Murphy.
And it's perfect. That works so well.
And then out of nowhere, he started calling me Monger, like warmonger. Like Monger. And then it
doesn't work quite as well, but.
No. But we had a local station in Atlantic City, I want to say 104 MGM, and there's a DJ called the Mudman. And I would call in as the Monger Man. I had an alternative character. Like, this is how I
wow.
kind of like start working wrestling characters.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I still had the tapes of this because I recorded every fucking call. I lost them because I've moved so much. I would call in, like they would have like this thing at the end of the night, you know, where you say goodnight to somebody. I'd like to call in and say goodnight to so and so and so and so, and they're like playing Kenny G. That and you know, you call in. I want to say goodnight to the love of my life and all this shit.
Yep.
I call in as the monger man. Yeah, this is. And it got to the point where like. They anticipated me calling. I would blow somebody up.
Mm-hmm.
It's the monger man. Blah 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 blah. I'm going to blow up somebody. And there was this Megadeth song. I can't think of the name of the song, but the beginning of the song is this old timey song where you hear, "I don't want to set the world on fire," and then you hear this like a bomb coming down, and an explosion. I would blow somebody up, and then I would cut out the singing part, but you hear the whistle of the bomb coming in, and so I was like the monger man on 104 MGM to the point where, and this just came from a nickname my friend Justin gave to me. Eventually, he started calling as Havoc Man. So it was Monger Man and Havoc were like a fucking tag team calling into this radio station.
That's hilarious.
And I went to a signing, like a Mudman was doing this appearance at like Strawberries Records in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. And I go in, I was like, yeah, Monger Man. You know?
Did he believe you?
And I gave him the fish handshake, you know,
yeah,
and stuff. Yeah, did that. And we took a photo, and like eventually there was like somebody called in pretending to be me, and I guess they had caller ID. They're like, nope, you're not Monger Man. Or something like, it's so goofy.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's how like I
Can we get some Monger Man merch?
Dude, my friend Justin's probably like, if he hears this story, he'll fucking pop huge, you know, because like he called me. But the story is, you know, you call me Meanie, he called me Monger. I've always had like nicknames. In high school, you know, everybody like, hey, big man, what's up, big man? You know, all my friends, hey, big man, hey, Heff, what's up? You know, and I was the wrestling guy in high school because like I was the pro wrestling fan. It seemed like everybody liked wrestling, but I was the guy. I would read the newsletters. I'm like, here's a little inside scoop. You know, I would never say where.
Yeah. I remember during like the Attitude Era and stuff, like when that first started and I was in high school, and that became like, I was like the go-to. Like people were just like, oh man, well, we know Josh. So like, well, we watch wrestling now. And then all of a sudden now I became popular. The thing that like I was made fun of for watching, now all of a sudden, you know, I was Mr. Popularity. But to put a bow tie, as you would say, on that question, I would venture to guess that while there was no legal issues in ECW, there was clearly no copyright issues because WWE would have nipped that in the bud immediately.
I still have my booking contract from WWE, and it clearly states in the contract, Blue Meanie is intellectual property of Brian Heffron.
Yeah.
Which, when we went to do my first ever action figure with Figures Toy Company, they were worried that WWE was going to have something to say because Just Incredible has a figure with him, but he has to, you know, use his real name because WWE owns, you know, Just Incredible. Which actually Bilvis Wesley came up with the gimmick, Just Incredible, and pitched it for somebody else, and they, you know, was joking around. And
who else did they pitch it for? Do you know?
He might even been joking about using it for himself.
Okay.
He's like, there's this wrestler, and he comes out, look at him, he's Just Incredible. Bill Wiles came up with the Just Incredible name, and they gave it to PJ.
Man.
A little bit of useless knowledge there.
No, that's great, though. Hey, here's a question.
Oh, no. But seriously, back to the Blue Meanie name.
Yes.
It's kind of, what's the term? Public domain.
Okay.
In a way. I learned from, when, you know, I go over to England, I learned that, you know, Blue Meanie was the term for the police in England. Here comes the Blue Meanies.
Which is obviously what the
main
cartoon
villain
came from. Yeah.
And then it also, during the I don't want to say the Depression era in the UK, but Blue Meanie was a term for a form of currency because it was blue, and they're like, times were tough. You're like, oh man, I'm spending this last Blue Meanie.
Yeah. Wow.
So I went to work for 1PW in the UK. I learned a lot about the meaning of the term Blue Meanie in United Kingdom. So it was kind of like the Beatles got it from public domain anyway. So
yeah, so it all kind of just works. And the thing is, talking about how you looked like him. I mean, you didn't really, obviously you had the makeup around the eyes, but even that changed as time went on. That's like
the
raccoon eyes. That's, burglar, whatever,
Nobody really burgles anymore. Do people burgle?
No, not a lot of burgling these days, especially now with the pandemic. I think burgling is down big time.
Burgles have taken a really big hit.
Man.
Dude, me and Mrs. Meanie were walking down our street, and there's these two guys taking a big screen TV out of a house. They're obviously moving out. And we walk by, I go, there's a couple burglars. She's like, who the fuck says burglar anymore?
Burgling.
I was like, they're obviously burgling. They're obviously burgling, Tracy.
You call the police, and we have an active burglar or active burgle.
Yeah, there's a burgle.
There's an active burgle. Hey, if you or your or a loved one has been burgled, we're not trying to.
No, we're not trying to. Bring up emotional.
Is there any different? Is burgle
burgle? That's so fun to say.
What a word, burgle. Burgle.
Burgle.
Justin Burgle, right? No, I'm sorry, it's Justin Bartz. At Justin Bartz.
Burgle.
Justin Burgle writes, what do you miss the most from the Metal Sludge chat era?
Oh, dude.
He actually has 4 questions here, so I don't know if we're gonna let him do all of them.
We'll
circle back
to the other folks.
We'll circle back, but we'll do that one, and then I just think this last one's funny, so we'll do these 2. But yeah. So first, what do you miss the most from the Metal Sludge chat era?
Metalsludge.com, which is now metalsludge.tv. Dude, that was a fun website. Mainly because of the point of kayfabe around it. People were like, they were doing a lot of inside shit as far as it was based on hair metal rock and roll.
Okay.
But the biggest mystery was who the fuck runs this website because they're just talking shit on people and hitting with a lot of different insider stuff. And to the point where some bands were if they saw they had their own Metal Sludge t-shirts, they were always ripping Dana Strum from Striper, not Striper, Slaughter or whatever, one of those hair bands and stuff like that. If you were seen wearing a Metal Sludge shirt, they were, whoever they were, Sebastian Bach hated Metal Sludge or whatever because they're always fucking breaking his balls. So if you're wearing
Metal Sludge and Chris
shirt,
Jericho, it's on his shirt.
Yeah.
List.
That's what Jericho should do. He should start wearing a Metal Sludge shirt again. They were always harping on Sebastian Bach for some reason. Sebastian Bach wound up hating Metal Sludge or whatever. But that's the biggest thing. And they would have all these Metal Sludge extravaganzas in California. I was living out there at the time. But there was this message board. And it was a dog eat dog type message board. Where people would either, and there was chat rooms too, which is kind of cool. So I'm a big fan of 80s hair metal, rock and roll, hair metal. I love Dokken. I love Rat. Some of my favorite bands. I was just thinking about that. It's Dokken and Rat were a tag team of 80s.
Have you seen the I know you hadn't seen that.
The Geico commercial?
Have you seen the Geico commercial for Rat? We have a rat problem.
Dude, popped so hard for that.
I'm not going to play that one because then we're really not going to be able to keep this on on our channel.
But dude, Metal Sludge was this community. It was a really cool community. And eventually I started figuring out who it was behind the scenes. I I guess whoever runs Metal Sludge asked Jericho for tickets to a WWE event. And Jericho was like, yeah, this guy named Sean Carr was asking me for tickets. You know, somebody from Metal Sludge asked tickets for this guy named Sean Carr or Card or I forget. And, like, that was, like, the first leakage of information. But eventually, there was this guy, Sean Card, who was helping run the Metal Sludge site, putting up articles and all this stuff. And he was working for a lot of bands. He worked for the band Lit, you know, back in the day. He was directing videos or whatever, something like that. Big fan of wrestling, big fan of metal, which is probably why there were so many wrestlers. They had a segment on Metal Sludge called 20 Questions. Yeah. Me and Jericho were always doing 20 questions, and, like, they would do 20 questions rewind. And there's, like, if you did for, like, you know, I think me and Jericho did the most. Like, we did, like, 4 versions of the 20 questions. So there was always that wrestling aspect to it. Mm-hmm. And then eventually Sean Carr had a falling out with the owner, which turned out to be Stevie Rochelle. And they had, like, a falling out. So, like, you know, the kayfabe kind of went away for the band, for the website. And it's just like, we didn't want to know. You know, kind of like, you know.
Yeah. You want to know, then you find out, you're like, I wish
you don't want to. They pull back the curtain.
Right.
It was Stevie Rochelle and Sean Carr. But, dude, I mean, I have friends to this day from that Metal Sludge era. I have a friend, Gabby, over in England. Mm-hmm. And best friend, anytime I go to the UK, she, you know, takes off and comes to hang out. Like, last time we saw her, me and Tracy went over to England for the Eagles game against Jacksonville. And, you know, Gabby came down from Manchester all the way to London to just hang out with us for a couple of days and stuff like that. Wow. So, you know, there's friendships. Justin, who asked the question, I know from the Metal Sludge years, his nickname was Nate Axel. It was pretty cool. And, you know, we're still friends to this day. We still talk music, still talk wrestling. But, you know, memories from that era was just so much fun because I was, you know, before, like, Twitter, Facebook, and all that stuff, that's how I met a lot of people, you know, and became friends with a lot of people who I still call friends to this day. So, yeah, Metal Sludge, shout out to Stevie Rochelle. He had a band called Tough, which is, like, one of the last bands from L.A. to get signed during that, you know, Poison and Warrant era and stuff like that. They were, like, the last, I don't want to say, they were the last hair metal band to get signed from that scene. So, like, he was doing his website and stuff like that. And it was so much fun. But they let the cat out of the bag, and it's just like,
it just doesn't.
But yeah, shout out to Metal Sludge. That was a good couple year run. It was like maybe 3 or 4 years. I was on that website every day. I was on that message board every day, and made friends there that I still call friends to this day.
That's awesome. Justin had another question that only. First of all, we could just say thank you for being a friend, Justin, because this next question is, which Golden Girl do you think was the hottest?
Oh, Blanche.
Yeah, I think hands down.
Yeah, Blanche could have caught it.
Everybody, look, we all have a type, right?
Yeah. Even though I think B. Arthur showed her fucking feet too much. Yeah, she wore too many fucking open-toe shoes.
Hey, Betty White was a handsome woman in her day. If you look back when she was she was a younger.
Some behind the scenes, apparently, I guess B. Arthur didn't like Betty White.
Yeah.
There's like backstage heat, like shout out to RJ City because he's in love with B. Arthur.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Really? Dude, he is fucking in love with B. Like, big fan.
It, like, started out, I'm like, that's a fun little gimmick he's doing. And I was like, that's not a gimmick. That's not a gimmick at all.
That's a shoot. If you go to his live, like tomorrow, he'll be making coffee in his underwear. If you join his YouTube page, you can use, like, B. Arthur emojis and stuff like that. He's got B. Arthur emojis, all this stuff. But he sent me a video. It was from, like, B. Arthur's wake. Like, B. Arthur had passed away, and Blanche, Rue McClanahan, whatever her name was. Blanche was doing a thing, and guess B. Arthur called Betty White a cunt or something like that. I was like, yeah, that's a little stiff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess there was like backstage heat between B. Arthur and Betty White, which seems unfathomable.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey.
Yeah.
Crazier things have happened.
It's so funny. Betty White was like the youngest of the Golden Girls.
Right.
Or no, like her character was the young.
Oh, she was the youngest, yeah, but
She wound up being the oldest in real life. Or
Estelle Getty
that's who I'm talking about.
was the youngest, I believe. She was
Yeah,
the
but she
youngest in
played
real
the
life,
oldest.
but played
Okay.
the
I fucked up. I fucked up.
Right. Hey, come on. Gotta keep you on your toes here. Here's another one from Anthony Camarada. I thought this was just a really good question. Who in WWE or AEW does the Meanie think he could have a decent match with? And who are some of his favorite wrestlers on television today?
Well, like I said, Randy Orton's the best heel in the business.
Yeah, nobody shat on you for that in the comments section of that article.
No, dude, it's
No, I mean, some did. Some, they didn't shit on you.
people are always going to shit on.
Oh,
me.
no, they didn't shit on you. They all got into like little. I was like, hey, let's check out the comments. There's lots of comments. I wonder if this is kind of fun. And I was like out of there in a second because they all start arguing with each other, and then they're all calling MJF names. And I'm like, what does MJF have anything to do with the fact that Meanie said Orton's a great heel? And it was like the point where you couldn't even trace back to the fact that you had said anything. They got into this deep fight with each other. But
Comment sections are where souls go to die.
You can't go into that rabbit hole.
No,
I've learned that. You can't do that.
Yeah, your day will be ruined going to any comment section because it's the worst of the worst. It's people who they had the balls to say it online, but if they see you in person, they'll be like, "Hey, I love you."
Yeah, so that was something.
You.
If I can just hijack Ask Me Anything for a second and just talk about. So I put a post on. I almost never do like anything that would be like controversial on like my posts online or anything like that. And I didn't think this was.
Hence why I asked you to be my co-host.
Yes. So I decided to push the envelope as best I could for you. And no, there was a video going around of Ray Phoenix getting a little overzealous with some of his right hooks.
Ray
Phoenix from AEW.
Oh, I'm thinking of this other. Okay, go ahead.
Joaquin, no, that was Joaquin Phoenix, totally different. But they are confused.
You said Jay Phoenix, right?
Ray Phoenix.
There was a Jay Phoenix I'm thinking of. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so Ray Phoenix, he's given a couple of shots to his opponent. He's like kind of hanging out of the ring. And he's going and going. And as they go more and more, he's basically just punching himself and totally missing the guy. Right. So I look at that and I just tweeted it out and I said, I just wonder if the wrestling community is going to bury this guy the way they did that poor unknown Dark Order guy.
Which I'm guilty of doing.
Yeah, well, so people tore him apart, and were those good punches to Dustin? No. No, they were not. But that guy, I mean, but you had like, main event Hall of Famers and everything jumping on that people who had never botched a move in their life, jumping on this poor kid who, is obviously this is his first TV appearance ever. Is probably nervous as hell, doesn't want to be, he's between a rock and a hard place because he's probably scared to death to punch Dustin in the face, and everybody is just tearing him apart. So my question was, are those same people going to tear Ray Phoenix apart? I wasn't saying you should or shouldn't. I was honestly asking, what is our opinion on Ray Phoenix? We're very hard on somebody who had done nothing in the business. Are we going to be as hard, more hard, or less hard on the guy who is very highly respected for
You're being observational.
Right. So this one guy decides to, retweet it and writes Mud Show. So I never interact with anybody. For whatever reason, I was just like, you know what? Rebecca, I said, I just commented because he was tweeting my thing out to get that. I just wrote, couldn't disagree more. And
very polite.
He then went into a whole thing and about, feelings on it. And I just said like, hey, you're entitled to your opinion. He was all like, he's like, well, I'm talking about, the company as a whole and all that stuff. And I said, listen, I think that the company is run by incredible people who work tirelessly to put on the best product they possibly can, with a locker room that is one of the best locker rooms I've ever had the privilege of being around. Just my opinion. Maybe they've had a different experience in the AEW locker room, but it's doubtful. So, that was just my opinion. But then these other people start arguing with each other. When one person was like, well, this was like, wasn't good, but whatever. And the other was like, it wasn't good. And they're like arguing. They're like, this was horrible. The worst thing ever, all that. So going back and forth. And I'm seeing all these things constantly because I'm tagged in it because it's on my thing. So finally, all right, I'm like, all right, kids.
Your phone's
like,
beeping and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. I'm like, show of hands. Who's ever tried this themselves? Right. And so the guy took offense to it, and he's like, hey, oh, are we going to use if you haven't been in the business, then you don't get an opinion. And he's like, just out of curiosity, how many bumps do you have to take to critique another wrestler? So I responded, I'm curious your opinion on my response. My response was, online, apparently 0. In person, thousands. And even then, you better hope that they were more than the person that you're critiquing.
Right.
And I think that's really how it is. If you screw something up in the ring, unless it's something that is
countless times.
Right. And unless it was something that is so side-splittingly hilarious that, how are you not going to just, give you some shit for it? But you botch a move or do something like that. I am sure that there are a number of people in a locker room that you go, that person has every right to say something to me, and a number of people in the locker room where you go, that person better sit down and not even open their mouth about what I just botched. Right. Because everybody does it, but there are certain people, and that's the thing, like AEW, Ray Phoenix went back there. If Chris Jericho wanted to pull him aside and say something, that's a guy who's earned the right to do it. Sammy Guevara, great wrestler, amazing athlete, probably shouldn't say anything to Ray Phoenix about what he's doing. Just because that's like a hierarchy in wrestling at this point. So anyway, I went back and forth, and I ended it by saying, listen, this is all just my opinion on it. You're absolutely entitled to yours. I'm going to delete all of this because I just don't like welcoming this into, I put out a tweet going like, this was my fault. I put out a thing. I don't
my bad.
Yeah, I'm like, and I honestly deleted the original tweet to delete the whole thing because I was like,
dude, I've done that.
That was my fault
like,
for welcoming that, but
Yeah, I've done that where like I replied to something, then automatically I just go, why the fuck did I do that? I just fucking delete it. It's just there's certain hills you die on. Like, talk about the Metal Sludge years. There's so many arguments I had on there, and it was so regretful, but such a teaching thing that like, there's some things you just leave it the fuck alone and just get, there's some things that are worth discussing and some things that are just an utterly waste of time.
Yep.
Arguing online has never changed anybody's opinion because they are set in their opinion. That's why I never talk, especially with this podcast, I never talk religion. I never talk politics. It's futile.
It's just not worth it. It's not worth the backlash you're going to get. Look, we've gone, we've made many times we've made comments about wear a mask.
Right.
I don't believe that's political. I believe that's scientific and that's a public health situation. Some people take that politically, one good or bad, and I don't think but I agree, no politics, no religion, and,
just common sense.
Yeah. We're all hey, we all have something we believe in that someone else is going to find ridiculous.
Oh, of course.
From politics to religion to what our favorite food is. Like
for me growing up, it was professional wrestling. I got made fun of,
And that's the thing. You're a professional wrestling fan. I see these people, they're all arguing, they're fighting amongst themselves. It's like, listen, we are a group of people that are just misfits in the real world. Like I have to watch football because I can't walk into a room and chat up a random person about, what's going on Raw on Monday, but I can talk about the Eagles,
Right.
So it's like, when you're a wrestling fan, like that is something that, at different stages in your life, you've had to keep it to yourself. Just get along, people. And, but I don't know, my biggest pet peeve is, just the people who critique something that's done in the ring when they've never tried to do it themselves. Because I will speak to this. You'd be surprised. Some of the things you think are the easiest things are the hardest. And some of the things you think are the hardest are the easiest. And you have no idea until you've gotten in there. And that was the first thing I remember was my first bump, my first time running the ropes were just mind-boggling how different they were than what I ever imagined. And like you think running the ropes, you're like, okay, well that's not that hard. And all of a sudden your legs are running. You've just taken 15 steps to get halfway across the ring. And you're like, what am I doing? And it's so unnatural in the beginning, but you've watched it forever and you thought, all I have to do is just bounce off the ropes. I'll run. I'll bounce off the other one. I'll go. So it's like, that's why I'm always like, just, try to.
When I first started training with Al, it's funny. I would say things how I thought they would be, and he would just laugh at me, going, "No, this is how it's done," or "No, this is why we do it."
Yeah.
I'm speaking from experience of going from somebody who's a super duper mark to being in the business. I didn't realize how little I knew until I got into the wrestling business. And that's where I'm coming from when somebody says something, I go, well, no, you're allowed to have you're allowed to have your opinion.
Yeah.
But there's an opinion based on being a fan, and there's opinion based on experience.
It's like, yeah. And that's the thing. There's levels of experience. Like, you and I talk a lot, and there are a lot of things that I can relate 100% to you, and then things I can't. I can't speak to, I can speak to what I learned from guys like Al about working in front of giant audiences, of 12,000 people in an arena or whatever it is. I can speak to what I learned. Can't speak to actually doing it because I never did it, but you can. Right. And that's the thing. You can speak to certain things, but I'm never going to suggest to tell somebody like, listen, well, all you have to do is you got to just listen to the crowd. Here's how it's done. It's like, no, here's how I've been told, but Meanie can actually tell you how it's done, and so I think that even their levels of experience, and you have to know what your level is and be okay with that and accept that and understand that there are people who are a lot better than you. And there are people who have main evented WrestleMania and come back through the curtain and sit down with someone else and say, how was that? What could I have done differently? So there are people at the top of their game who still understand that there are people who know more than they do. And I just feel like from a fan, be a fan, enjoy it, have your opinion because it's fun to talk about. I'm not wrecking on anybody for having their opinion about it. But to hop online and start preaching about, how someone should be throwing a punch or should be doing something, like, I don't know. Anyway, off my soapbox. Anyone in WWE or AEW, Meanie, that you think you could have a decent match with?
Dude, I would love to do something with Orange Cassidy.
Oh.
That's a no-brainer.
Oh, man.
The hardcores, shit on him for what he does. But, dude, he's over. You can't argue with over.
Yep.
And I would love to do something with him. Of course, I would love to tag with Dustin again. But WWE, oh, my God, there's so many good people there. I would love to do something with Otis.
Oh.
I think
just picturing these things, it's amazing.
I would just love to either, have a dance-off with him or just, either wrestle against him or just being a six-man with Heavy Machinery. I would love to do that. Just like one of my life goals was to do a six-man with the Headbangers because I think we would just be,
Did that ever happen?
No. We've been on plenty of shows, and I love those guys. I've wrestled against them, but...
Again, let's make this happen. The same way that we're going to make the Sablou and Rob Van Darn.
Yes.
We're gonna make this somebody book it. If you're booking the Headbangers and Blue Meanie on the same show, like do yourself a favor, book a six-man. Yeah. It's not that hard. But As far as, oh man, you and Orange Cassidy. Well, you need to go to AEW and make an appearance at some point.
So hold on. I got to take a time out here for Mrs. Meanie, even though we're live on Patreon. All right.
We have...
post office and send out some Blue Meanie fun packs.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
Mind of the Meanie, Miss
hitting the
Meanie
theme.
on the Tracy Roots. Got something to say. I gotta go.
All right, Mrs. Meanie, what's up?
Hey, I gotta go to the post office and send out my Blue Meanie fun packs. I got a couple orders in because of the video over on YouTube.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. Thank you, everybody, for doing that.
Thumbs up. I gotta go.
Go.
Yeah, I
Thank
gotta
you.
go.
This is a quick run in. Run in and run out.
We should have a run out theme.
Yeah.
But I gotta go to Target and like, and I should say, I'm so glad that, like, I'm not the only one in the whole wide world that Al Snow looks at like they're the stupidest person on the planet. 'Cause that's what you were just talking about. I heard you.
Yes. In fairness, I think Al looks at most people that way.
I love you, babe.
I love you. What? Oh, you was
Josh thought I was talking to him.
What was I going to say? Definitely check out, go to youtube.com/mindofthemeanie and check out episode 5, the newest Mrs. Meanie run-in.
Dude, she is so good.
This is a good episode. This was a real fun one. And she's just kind of going through all the stuff in the fun packs, and it's awesome.
You know, what I love about Mrs. Meanie doing the videos is it's very therapeutic for her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it gives her a creative outlet. She legit misses going. I miss going to shows, but she really misses going to shows because of all the interactions, all the friends we know, all the friends we meet, and the friends we make at these conventions.
Well, I know, I would talk to Mrs. Meanie sometimes more than I would talk to you at the.
Yeah.
At the conventions and stuff. Like, she's just a lot of fun to interact with, and she's somebody who is very personable at those things. And and that sucks. Like, he takes somebody who's just really, enjoys interacting with people and just be like, okay, hey, we're just gonna lock you up in a room for the next 6 to 9 months.
She's like a social butterfly at these events where she's like, everybody knows her. Everybody, I mean, she's over.
More over than I am.
No, I love her to death, man. She's my best friend, and I'm happy. I'm proud of her. I'm very proud of her for doing this stuff, doing the fun packs. She does really good stuff with buttons and stuff like that. But Etsy kind of priced her out on that. But now with these Meanie fun packs, which she procured, if I could use my $5 word for the day.
Nice.
She procured. Because, dude, we were doing all these conventions, and I went and got all this merchandise done up, like a couple $100 worth of merchandise. I'm just staring at it, like these crates of merch. So she was like, you know what? Let's, if we can't do conventions, let's bring conventions to people.
Yeah.
And she did Meanie fun packs over on Etsy. Look up her shop, Pinned for the Win. Dude, seriously, as soon as that video went up, she got a couple orders, and
that's awesome.
She's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Pod Squad, for that as well. That's just so cool. We have we talk about our Patreon members and all, but this goes beyond the Patreon. This is everybody who listens. We are so lucky to have such an awesome fan base, and so quickly after starting our show. This is episode 21, which in some ways you go, wow, that's a lot. We've been doing this for 21 weeks.
That's drinking age.
Yeah, right?
Our podcast is legally able to drink right
now. But the reality is, this is still a very, very new podcast and a new community that we're building. And I mean, I think everybody understands, probably goes out saying, but everyone understands when we're pushing our Patreon. We really believe that you're going to get way more than your money's worth. But we are not offended by anyone who chooses not to join the Patreon. We just really appreciate you as listeners, and viewers on the stuff that we have over at youtube.com/mindofthemeanie, including the Mrs. Meanie run-in. And that's something that, we talked about doing stuff like that as Patreon exclusive. And that was very, I know, important to Mrs. Meanie to keep it for everybody and keep it free. And we want to be able to do that. We want to be able to bring you all content over there. And she does this 100% on her own.
All
which
that,
is
all the videoing, all the editing, all the tech, the text overlays, all that stuff.
yeah. She's just
The
doing
photo-
a great job. Taught herself.
She just how Fred taught himself how to do
Yep.
the Meanie Toons.
And I'm
she
gla-
taught herself to do this.
And I'm glad that's a perfect transition because I was waiting for an opportunity to say this. Today, as we record this, so we are live with some people. Today, as we record this, is Fred's birthday. So
Happy birthday, Fredward.
happy birthday, Fredward. Yes, he is celebrating his birthday right now and hopefully enjoying a nice, relaxing day with his wife and kids before we put him back to work. So you get one day off. But no, so happy birthday to Fred. Yeah, he's a
great guy, man. He's a great guy.
Thank you. I'm fond of him. And
I'm sure you guys had your shares of brawl for alls.
oh man, we had our shoot fights like any good brothers would. But we also had our he was who I wrestled growing up. We had knockdown drag out. Some of the greatest matches in the history of professional wrestling took place
Nobody
in
will
our
ever
basement.
see.
No one will ever see it. There's one time we had a tag team match. Our best friends growing up, the Laxes, and that was when we would do
Oh my
shows.
God, yeah.
When we would
Go
do
ahead.
shows at their place was called Lax's Lair. And great thing about that is they lived up the street from Bill Apter. So
Okay.
Bill had his Apter's Alley, but years before he had Apter's Alley, we always be like, we'd go into their basement, it was Lax's Lair. And so one time I was doing the show with Bill and he's like, oh, we're here in Apter's Alley. And I was like, yeah, it's like I used to wrestle around a lair up the street, and like nobody got it. But then I got a text from my buddy Jeremy, who's like Jeremy Lax, and he's like, I caught that, I got that, I appreciate it. But no, so we were wrestling them one time. We had this giant vase or vase, depending on how you say that. This giant, like I'm talking maybe 3.5 feet tall, this humongous thing in our basement, and my brother picks Jeremy up and throws him into me. And I catch him and fall backwards and shatter this thing like a 90s sitcom. I shatter this.
They did that in the Golden Girls, but go ahead. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is like I shatter this into a million pieces. We're looking at it. Our first thought is, can we glue this back together? Like I'm talking straight up sitcom, can we glue this back together? The answer was no, because there are so many damn pieces. This thing exploded. But Fred and I had some great moves, or great matches with each other. He had his character named Punch Fresh, and which was stolen from the WCW comic book. Sometimes he called himself PF Cool. But Punch Fresh had a finishing move called the Disc Compactor, and which I always thought was an awesome finisher.
Very wordy.
Well, Disc Compactor, like it was like a compact disc. But also, but also like dropping you on your head and compacting all of your discs in your spine.
Spinal.
He did that to me on our basement floor before our basement was finished and it was just concrete. And thankfully I landed on my shoulder, but it hurt. So thank you, Fred, for that. But we had some really great times, and he was the first person I ever wrestled in quotes in the ring. When my dad took us up to the Wild Simone Training Center in Allentown, one of their old, this is way back before I started training, we rented out the ring, and Fred and I just wrestled around horribly in the ring. But yeah, it was the first person I was ever in the ring with, and yeah, he's still, and all these years later, he's still helping me out and still carrying me to something worthwhile. So happy birthday, Fred, and we appreciate you here at the Mind of the Meanie.
Fredward.
I want you and Orange Cassidy to have some sort of interaction, even just a backstage. Whenever they return to Philly,
We both have colorful names. Orange
Orange
versus
and blue.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. I wanna wrestle Orange Cassidy.
Here's what I think. This is my prediction of what would happen. So the next time they're in Philly, which hopefully will be sooner than later, so in 2025 when they return to doing shows, when they come to Philly, I think we'll just will just sneak in to the back there,
Mm-hmm.
and you walk past Tony Khan, who is an enormous ECW fan, and that man will put you. He's gonna I feel like he'd put you on TV. I know it's putting a lot of pressure. Meanie's not saying any of this. This is just me saying this.
Right.
But I mean, if someone can get word to Tony Khan that the Blue Meanie would like to do something with Orange Cassidy, I feel like it's going to happen because it's so good, and he's someone who really appreciates old school ECW. That I feel like
little useless. Well, not useless. Little known fact.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch ECW, if you watch the BWO's Kiss, me, Stevie, Nova, and Donnie Allen, honorary member.
Yeah.
And we're in the ring. There's a youngster in the crowd wearing an orange Taz shirt holding a sign saying, "We want Jer." That was Tony Khan.
Awesome.
Tony Khan was in the ECW arena when we debuted as, it was our second debut. We did it the night before at the Lulu Temple, but we perfected it at the ECW arena. Tony Khan was in the crowd. His father his father said, "Look, if you do some scholastic effort, if you do well in school, I'll do this." He said, "I want to go to ECW." And he went to, he saw Sabu versus Jericho at the Lulu Temple. And that night we debuted as Kiss.
Was that Jericho's last night? Or was
I'm sorry?
it the next night was Jericho's last night?
I
Wasn't one of those Jericho's last night?
Something like that. But when the BWO comes out to the ring, he's holding up a sign called, we want Jer, because my boy Jeremiah, who sat behind the ring timekeeper, and who also has an amazing Instagram of all rare ECW photos called Too Fast for Blood. Go look him up on Instagram, Too Fast for Blood. He's got amazing ECW photos. Him and Jer and Tony Khan. Tony Khan, Jer, me, Del James, who works for Guns N' Roses, Mike Johnson, and a few others were all in this little circle on AOL Grandstand, and we would all be in this chat room.
So you were talking to Tony Khan way back then.
Back in 97, 96, 97.
Man.
But we all had like our... We
People
all had our
don't-
AOL names. Like I was UB Marks, capital U.
I
capital
guarantee
Marks.
you he would remember you.
Probably.
Anything I've ever heard of him, any interview I've ever heard with him,
He's
that
super
guy
intelligent,
is an
so, yeah.
encyclopedia. He remembers everything. And but he said, I just know from listening, and I know I've been backstage. Tony Khan and I do not hang around and chat with each other. So I'm not trying to put myself over like, let me talk to my boy TK and see if I can, But no, I just from all the what's that?
No, I'm just saying he's super intelligent. But go ahead.
Yeah, and he's always been a very, I have had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times. He's always been incredibly kind and welcoming to me when I'm there for fight. And it's funny, I said, we'll sneak you backstage. First of all, you don't need to sneak backstage. You say, hey, I want to pop by and say hello. You're the Blue Meanie. I'm sure they're happy to have you. Secondly, even if you wanted to sneak backstage, you couldn't sneak. You're the Blue Meanie. You can't sneak backstage. But and in Philly, I got to tell you, that was like the biggest security to get into the building that I had experienced at any of their shows.
Really?
Yeah, the Leo Core Center. So don't try and get backstage, anybody, if you're...
Well, like I said, when I showed up to SmackDown, I was like, I got permission.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get permission. But no, you know what? I think one thing that's so fun about AEW as a fan is that they really are... They're not afraid to step out of their own bubble and acknowledge other things and from the past especially, and we've talked about that. Blue Meanie and Orange Cassidy... There's money written all over that, and
might be Monopoly money, but money nonetheless.
But money nonetheless, and might be the Young Bucks money that shoots out of their cannons on their entrance. But
I can Sharpie my photo over them and stuff like that. Put like the Meanie glasses and the beard and stuff like that.
But I don't know.
Let's start our online campaign: Meanie versus Orange Cassidy.
Pod Squad.
Everybody is angling to wrestle Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
For the TNT title. I'm angling to wrestle Orange Cassidy.
Here's the funny thing.
The most dog show and pony match that you could ever have.
But here's the hilarious part of that. Had this been like a month ago, people would have been like, Oh yeah, Orange Cassidy, that kind of like ha whatever. The dude just won the main event match of Dynamite last week against Jericho. So it's like, this is the time for Meanie to be like, you know what? I'd like to do a little program with Orange Cassidy. You know, that guy who's now your number one babyface.
Maybe I'm out kicking my coverage here. I don't know.
I don't think so at all. And I think we need a hashtag. Pod Squad, come up with the hashtag. Tell you guys come up with it. I don't know if it's we want OC and BM. That doesn't feel right. We want. How about
please don't put BM.
Orange Cassidy v Blue Meanie. That's all we need. Orange Cassidy.
Versus Blue.
Orange versus Blue. I love it. Orange v Blue. Hashtag Orange v Blue.
AEW Orange versus Blue.
And I think that's going to be the title of our episode. Hashtag AEW Orange v Blue.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to make this happen. And we've got time. We want this to happen in Philly. Has to happen in Philly.
It's gotta happen in Philly.
Front of the Pod Squad.
Yeah. That way they save on trans.
Yeah.
And hotel fees.
Yeah.
Pay me in catering. So
yeah, that's gonna be
seriously.
awesome.
I want to wrestle Orange Cassidy.
Yep. What's going to happen? I have made up my mind that I am going to pull the complete lack of weight I have in the wrestling business. I'm going to call in all the favors to a bunch of unanswered lines because I don't have anyone to talk to, but I am making it my life's mission alongside with getting you in that match with Rob Van Dam and Sabu. And there was another one, but I think I've already forgotten it. Oh, yeah, you and the 6-man with the headbangers. And I'm going to do... This is my way of paying you back as a thank you.
You also said NWO versus BWO.
NWO versus BWO, although we may have No, I still want to see that happen.
That time,
we can still make that happen.
Yeah.
We can
maybe a photo op.
But yeah, I want... God, even if we can just... You know what? We just need a StarCast to come back and we can do like a BWO, NWO co-signing or something.
Or a retrospective.
Retrospective, yeah.
I don't know, where we do...
the NWO talks all about the rise and fall of the NWO, and then the BWO comes in and we're like, now let us tell you about that time we had to kick the inchworm out of the... No, it's good.
Yeah, listen here, Chico.
No, you know what? It's funny. In some fans' minds, I think both are look back on as fondly as the other. I think one's look back on as fondly as the other because they're special times in wrestling, you know. And
I mean, we were the first official parody, and I think we were the one that's people go, that's just the NWO ripoff,
right.
All these other factions, all these factions came after. I mean, they didn't invent factions.
Yeah, and it doesn't give you. Here's the thing: it doesn't give you the credit for what you did to just label you a ripoff or even just a spoof or even whatever, because you were very much. I mean, the BWO. Yeah, you guys.
We were topical.
You parodied it that one in the creation of it, but then you became completely your own thing.
Right.
So
right.
But anyway, I think that's
we were the warrant to their poison.
Okay. I like that.
We were like there was poison sense. And then warrant came out, which is kind of poison, but not really poison. But, they were.
I think that works.
Yes.
Here's what I want to do. I want to look up now because I
want to shoot. Shoot Ben.
Okay. So over at Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever you want to call it, we have been so lucky to have across the board 5 out of 5-star reviews, and we really do appreciate that. We're up now to 56 ratings, so our ratings have increased. Thank you so much for everybody who's left a 5-star rating.
Absolutely.
But we haven't had a new review since June 9th. And that's got to change, Pod Squad. We need you guys to put some more reviews in there because there are a lot of people giving 5-star ratings, which mean the world to us. Tell us what you love about it. The more you tell us, the more we can do. But we're not
looking for a pat on the back, but each review helps up our algorithm for other people to find us. So if you can just, rate and review and give us that, feedback to help build this Pod Squad.
Yep. And right now at this point, we've got this fun little ditty that we play.
Fake Foo Fighters.
Yeah, fake Foo Fighters. I want to see. I'm starting to worry that I may have already read some of these.
That's the thing. You can't like just put like a little check mark and go, I read that one.
No, I mean I could just write it down, but you know what? We're gonna go with this one anyway. No, I think this. Okay, here we go. We're gonna do this, and I'm gonna do 2 of them in hopes that at least one of them's new. Tony Toodat. I definitely did Tony Toodat. I had to have. We're going to do it anyway. So good. Thank you, Meanie and Josh. Really enjoyed the podcast. I don't think the podcast is too long. Thanks. I like the nuggets of conversation of different topics. Really makes commuting to and from work enjoyable. This made it to my weekly podcast rotation. Would love to hear Meanie and Josh do a watch-along on the Yellow Submarine. I definitely feel like we talked about this before. That could happen on Patreon at some point. Who knows?
That could be our drinking episode because you got to be inebriated to watch that movie. So.
Yes. So let's do another one. We're going to kick that up again. Balm for Boredom. Does that sound familiar?
No.
Let me start by saying Meanie's voice fills a void in pro wrestling podcasts by covering more of his interests than just wrestling. That being said, he's been around a few promotions, and I'm looking forward to the stories he has to tell. The first episode is what I was hoping it would be, fun and conversational. Give it a listen. That's from Jenna May. And Jenna May, thank you so much. That was from March 30th, 2020, one of our early, that was, I think, our 3rd one we ever got. Hope you're still with us, Jenna May, and we really do appreciate that. And leave another review if you can, or shoot something over to our social media. Let us know how you liked it in the 20 episodes since. Hopefully we haven't lost you and your 5-star review. But go over there now. You don't have to listen on that platform to leave a review. We really, really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It is very, very helpful to us and to the algorithms that Meanie and I absolutely don't understand.
I have no rhythm, let alone an algorithm. So,
wow, that's good. I like that. Oh, hey, you know what? We're almost done here.
Yes,
but this wouldn't be an episode of ours if we didn't try to plug some merch. So I think we need to plug some merch. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, everybody. You want to show the world how much you love the Mind of the Meanie? Well, go to mindofthemeanie.com right now. That will take you to prowrestlingtees.com if you click on the merch button, and you can see all of our great shirts available on prowrestlingtees.com. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to do that, because I'm going to type in Mind of the Meanie on my phone here, and there it is. Get our merch. Boom. You're right there. And prowrestlingtees.com provides you with so many options to choose from, going all the way back to the Hal Haney tee, to the Meanie Mania. Don't fact check me. I hate mustaches. The highest seller, the Pod Squad shirt. Meanie Burger, baby in a beanbag chair. Have a sip for the apocalypse. That one is still, unfortunately, topical. We've got so many great shirts over there. Meanie Toons logo. I'm 3 seltzers deep. PHers, the podcast faces, which is myself and Meanie. And then, of course, that's where you can go pick up your alternative commentary shirt to support alternative commentary. We have the YM?A shirt of the Meanie performing the YMCA dance incorrectly, and 2 brand new ones that are here now at prowrestlingtees.com/Mind of the Meanie. We've got Meanie Gas. It's it depicts a propane tank, and it says Blue Meanie. It's definitely gas. And one thing that I think is really important to point out there is the flames, the blue flames off to the side. They're actually like your hair and makeup, which I thought was incredibly done. That was created by our good friend,
Very
the
intricate.
Doctor of Merchandise, Andy Slichter. And then this one, based off of something I said last week, and it's already out there. I said, if sarcasm is my superpower, then donuts are my kryptonite. And there it is. Donuts are my kryptonite. A giant donut there. That is one of those shirts that, much like sarcasm is my superpower, Donuts is my kryptonite is a shirt that, like, you could literally buy that for, like, your grandmother who loves donuts. Like, this is not a pro wrestling exclusive shirt.
Right.
It's something everyone can relate to, and we want this podcast to be something that everyone can relate to, although obviously we're a little heavy on pro wrestling. But yeah, that's some of the great shirts, just a little. That's some of the great shirts that you can get over there. But of course, while you're at ProWrestlingTees.com, why don't you put in the Blue Meanie? ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie for all your Blue Meanie and BWO shirts. Meanie, tell them what they're going to find there.
Depending on when you're listening to this, if you're watching it live on Patreon right now, go over to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. We're having a blowout sale on the micro brawlers. The Blue Meanie. Nobody
knows a blowout like the Blue Meanie.
Ask Mrs. Meanie.
Oh.
Yeah. So, so much heat. Yeah. Well, I'll just leave it at that. You threw me off.
What were we talking about here? Okay. Hey, accessories. Blowout
Blowouts.
sales for the micro brawler. Get on it.
Blowout until you have to use the shower head to get extra water pressure in the toilet. But so yeah, go over to my ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. Get 50% off the Blue Meanie micro brawlers, or you can get some of the more stylish T-shirts. Shout out to my boy Julian Bradley, aka Chris Crew, who just bought a Blue Meanie white shirt, which is one of my favorite shirts done by Howie Noel. It's the Blue Meanie shirt. It looks like an old school fighter boxing shirt. You know, it says Blue Meanie, Philadelphia, PA 19148, and in the underneath where the boxer's nickname goes, it just says the Blue Guy. One of my favorite shirts.
Really great
shirt I have up there. And then you want to be old school, you could go over and get the old school BWO shirt. Also talking today, we talked about BWO Japan, how we expanded into Japan. I put up the BWO Japan shirt, which was a parody of the... Speaking of Blue Meanie, BWO being the parody of the NWO, there was the BWO Japan. They did their own version of the BWO Japan shirt. Well, that was sold for a little bit of time in the 90s, and now I'm bringing it back. We're bringing it back to Pro Wrestling Tees, so go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie and get yourself a BWO Japan T-shirt.
There are some other shirts over there that I was scrolling through to kind of find, and there's one that we need to figure out a way to get this in a child size because my son really wants it, and that's the Meanie Face shirt.
Yeah, man.
Big fan of that. I actually have a bunch. It matches. He has a bunch of onesies, and I have T-shirts when we would go to Sesame Place. But he's got all of these things that are basically that, but Sesame Street characters. And so that's something that he definitely needs. I also love the Meanie, where it says Meanie, and it's you in place of Rocky Balboa at the top of the steps of the art museum. So many great shirts over there. You talked about all of the Philly sports ones. There's the McCuskers shirt, Hold My Calls.
McCuskers. Yeah.
There's the Spectrum Wrestling shirt. So a lot of really old school that don't even just apply to the Blue Meanie like that. And then, of course, the 48 WKBS Philadelphia and Burlington T-shirt, which is a new one on there.
Yeah, if you grew up in the Philly area, and you watch Kung Fu Theater, or you once watched Son of Svengoolie, who did the old school horror movies, who's actually still around. He broadcasts out of Chicago. If you watched roller derby, wrestling on Saturdays, you watched wrestling on Channel 48 here in Philadelphia, to the point where people have a Facebook group dedicated to WKBS Channel 48 here in Philly. And yeah, dude, I specifically made the shirt just for me, but if you want it, you can buy it too. We can start our own fight club of Channel 48. So yeah, go over to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie and get yourself a Channel 48 shirt.
While you're over at Pro Wrestling Tees, don't be too shy to go to ProWrestlingTees.com/So Says Shernoff and check out some of the shirts I have there. I've got this brand new one. It's it's raising up the fist up to the top, holding the microphone. It says So Says Shernoff. A real fun one that the Doctor of Merch made for me. Says So Says Shernoff studio audience is real and has the applause button over it. So Andy was actually a member of my studio audience a handful of times, which is how I first met him before he became a Pod Squad member. So the studio audience was real. Everyone thought it was fake, but it was real. But studio audience can be gone for a long time because I just found out that they are not going to be allowing us to be in there at least until 2021. So if you have not enjoyed watching So Says Shernoff with no audience and just me sitting at my desk, I have terrible news for you. But we also have over there the Shernoff tie t-shirt, which was originally a shirt, an idea that we had that came out of this podcast before it even started. I don't know if you even realize that, Meanie, is I was just known for wearing a tie, a custom tie, but I knew when we would meet and do this podcast at the school, at that studio, I didn't want to have to always wear a suit, so I thought I'll get a t-shirt with my tie. Turns out we're just doing it remotely, and I don't dress up at all. But we've got some other fun, the established 1983 t-shirt, some of the Sarcasm is My Superpower in multiple different colors.
That's my favorite shirt.
What's that?
The Sarcasm is My Superpower shirt is my favorite shirt. The fact that I didn't even say, hey, man, can I get one of those shirts? I went out and spent my own money, and I got that shirt. And when I wear that shirt in public, people pop for it. So,
it's much appreciated. Here's a shirt you definitely won't want to wear in public, but I love it. It's myself on an old WWF ice cream bar. That's a fun one. And then there's the Shernoff, one of my favorites, the Shernoff Premium Broadcasting, which I think we are going to offer. That was originally at a tie that said Shernoff Premium Podcasting. And then when I started doing broadcasting, I switched it to broadcasting. And now I think I might need the shirt that says podcasting. Maybe that'll be a Patreon exclusive, one that just says podcasting. Who knows? Anything can happen in the world of Mind of the Meanie.
Yes.
But we can't forget, even though the music ended and that would have been a perfect time to end, we're going to kick it off again because Collar and Elbow. It's the wrestling brand. You got to go to collarandelbowbrand.com and use the coupon code Meanie to save 10%. Meanie, the BWO took over Collar and Elbow, but there's so much more than even just the awesome BWF. BWF.
That's my bodybuilding fed.
Yeah. More than the BWO merchandise, there's so much more there. Meanie, tell us what we can find over at collarandelbowbrand.com.
Not really bodybuilding, maybe body unpacking.
BWF. Hey, Andy, you listening? Get that BWF old school. What was it? The WWB, right? Or no, WBF.
WBF.
So we have BWF, Blue Meanie bodybuilding.
Yeah.
What did you say? Not bodybuilding? What is it? It's
body unpack. I don't know.
I don't know. Andy, make us proud. All right, what can you find over there at Collar and Elbow Brand?
Dude, shout out to Al Snow and Rod Hicks over at collarandelbowbrand.com. Dude, they're killing it. They're doing great work over there, and some of their shirts are so funny. I talk all the time about how Luke Gallus is killing it over there, and how he's doing all these great videos and vignettes with his Collar and Elbow Brand merch over there. He's got the Good Brother shirt. He's got the Good Brother Union jacket, which is kind of like the Ribera jacket. If you went to Japan and you wrestled in Japan, everybody went to the Ribera Steakhouse and they got the jacket. I've never been there. I've never had the pleasure, so I might be getting myself my own version of the parody Ribera jacket that Luke Gals did over there at collarandelbowbrand.com. I love one of my favorite shirts is based off of the old Mid-South Wrestling logo. The man holding up the championship shirt. So it said Mid-South Wrestling. It says Collar and Elbow Brand. They also have the, like I said, the BWO took over. And one of my favorite shirts was the mirrored shirt where it said collar and underneath it elbow upside down. So I took out the bow and put BWO. So and it really pops off really nice. That nice white popping off the royal blue. Over at collarandelbowbrand.com. I love their shirts. They got the parody shirts. They got a really sweet sunset flip looking shirt over there.
Yeah.
But don't take my word for it. Go over there, check out all their parody shirts and stuff like that. you always see me wearing the shirts. You see Kevin Nash wearing the shirts and all that good stuff. They got hats, they got jackets, they got everything. But if you use my promo code Meanie, you will save a little bit of money over there. So spend wisely over there at ColourAlbumBrand.com and get yourself some fashionable, comfortable shirts.
Spend wisely and often. ColourAlbumBrand.com, coupon code Meanie, ProWrestlingTees.com/MindOfTheMeanie /Blue Meanie / so says Shernoff. And again, check out MindOfTheMeanie.com. Our website's up. We love it. Looks great. We're excited about it. And so go over there and check it out.
Yeah,
One-stop shop over there. Fade out. Every time I say we're gonna fade out, that kind of just kills the mystique of being able to fade out. Don't you think?
Such is the world of Mind of DeMeanie, where it's just like
no mystique here.
No mystique. And our timing is way the fuck off.
Yep.
We have no sense of timing. Whatever.
Not at all.
Is there anything happening this Monday that we're not going to talk about?
Oh, I'm sure. Is this an anniversary of a monumental moment in your career and life? What is this Monday? The 17th, August 17th.
What happened on August 17th that we won't be talking about?
I'm gonna Google
this day in
pro
history.
wrestling. August 17th. There was a WWF house show in 2001. There was also a WWF house show in 1987. So no, not quite coming up with what we had hoped for.
Well, there you go.
In doing this. Anything in pro wrestling history?
Bueller.
Anyone? All right. Here we go. Wait a minute. Here we go. This day in wrestling history, August 17th. What year is this? Okay, this is 2016.
Oh.
So
deep dive.
No. This was written in 2016.
Oh.
So I was about to say 47 years ago today, but that's not true. So now I got to do fucking math on every single thing and add 40. So 51 years ago today in Bloomington, Minnesota, Dr. X defeated Vern Gagne to win the AWA World Heavyweight Championship. 34 years ago today in Charlotte, North Carolina, Nikita Koloff defeated Magnum TA to win their best of 7 match series 4-3 to claim the vacated NWA United States Championship.
Oh, well, historically, I was in attendance for match 1 of the best of 7 series at that stadium in Philadelphia.
Okay, so this is actually worthwhile what we're doing here.
Yeah. I went to the Grand Mary Bash 86 at Vet Stadium in Philly, which there's a magazine, Wrestling Eye magazine, and from that era, and they covered the Bash from Philly, and there's a centerfold of Jimmy Garvin and Precious in the corner of the ring, and if you look behind them down the aisleway, you see a young Blue Meanie wearing a red and white, a red ball cap with the white front. It was like a trucker hat. It was a Road Warriors hat. Little bit, but you see a young Blue Meanie in there.
Very cool. Well, hey, I just
Wrestling
stumbled
Eye
upon
Magazine,
something.
86.
I just stumbled upon something that's a little more, makes a little bit more sense for us to talk about. And that is 23 years ago today being Monday, August 17th.
Wink.
A little wink and a nod. ECW presented Hardcore Heaven 97 from the War Memorial Auditorium in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. There were 1,950 in attendance, with about 84,000 homes watching on pay-per-view, which is down from 104 for ECW's first pay-per-view, Barely Legal. Yeah, thank you, Dave Meltzer. I don't know if this is even...
But what were the demos?
Yeah. Taz defeated Chris Candido to retain the ECW World Television Championship. Bam Bam Bigelow defeated Spike Dudley. Rob Van Dam defeated Al Snow in a Monday Night Wars rules match. The Dudley Boys.
I've heard of them.
Bubba and Devon defeated PG-13. to retain the ECW World Tag Team Championships. Prior to the match, the Dudleys were awarded the tag titles by forfeit. The original scheduled match was the Gangstas, the champions at the time, challenging the Dudleys. Mustafa Saeed, one half of the Gangstas, had left the company. And this was, most people will remember this this is what would stand out to me, at least. Tommy Dreamer defeated Jerry Lawler, and of note, I remember the lights went out and they came back on. Jake the Snake Roberts made his one and only ECW appearance in this match. And in the main event, Shane Douglas defeated Sabu and Terry Funk in a three-way dance to win the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. Were you with the company at that point in time?
I was, and for whatever reason, I didn't make this show. I didn't go. I don't know.
You weren't booked, Terry.
Yeah. Well, no, there might have been like a travel issue, and I couldn't. I wasn't there. I watched at home. And I'm just blanking on why, but I think there was a travel issue.
While you're thinking about that, I just want to say we were sent a black heart by Glitter Fists, who is a Patreon elite member. Glitter Fists.
Sweet.
And that is
sounds
straight up.
That sounds like it should be a finishing hold.
Yeah, I mean if you look the icon, I guess, or the profile picture, you can just see the fists up there. You can't. I mean, anyone watching can see it, and there's just glitter on them. So
tremendous,
as promoted. But yeah, hey, thank you for being here and watching this.
Dude, thank you to anybody for watching this live as we do it. Sure, of course, this will be up later on Patreon to watch for forever.
Yes.
And, but to watch this as it happens, like if I was a wrestling fan, I'd be probably watching this right now.
Yeah, I would be.
If there's another podcast and I can watch live and just as it happens. So I'm a mark for watching something live to see, let me see where the fuck up happens.
Because, I mean, that's the thing. If you see it, if we really, really, really fucked up, we could just pull this off of the internet and not have it there forever and ever for Patreon to view. So this is it. You don't know. You'll never know. Like, we could say to you right now, if you're not watching this live, we could just say to you, be like, and listen, if you're not watching live, we just had to cut that last 45 minutes because I can't believe Meanie would say that, especially about somebody that young. Ooh, that went bad. I meant I meant that like you said something mean, but I felt like that took a terrible turn.
I'm not above
I think I have to cut this
child.
out. What?
I'm not above healing a child.
There you go.
I'm just kidding. I love children. Just don't want any. Unless Kleenex can reproduce, then, I'm not having fucking kids. So
delicious. All right.
Dude, when I was in high school, my fucking shag carpeting looked like a popcorn ceiling,
Yikes. That is
Yeah.
Glitterfist
there's so much more I could say. But.
Says, didn't want to talk and interrupt, but yeah, stoked I caught it live. We're stoked you caught it live too. You're not interrupting. You're
not interrupting.
You literally pay for the right to be able to insert
Ask him,
yourself.
Does he have a question while he's talking to us?
I think I think Glitterfist is a she.
I'm sorry. My apologies.
I think
Mrs.
so.
Fist.
Right? Well, now I'm either. Which one of us
this
just
is like
offended
AOL.
you, Glitterfist? Which one of us offended
Type in age, sex, location. That's where that was like the old AOL chat thing. It was like A/S/L for age, sex, location.
Glitterfist, you're a female, right? I'm looking at your picture. Looks like, I
don't judge anybody by glitter. I mean, dudes could use glitter.
Yeah, well, it's also like eye makeup, and I'm doing a podcast with a guy who's famous for wearing eye makeup, so I can't really,
Dude, I
it's a
put glitter on
judge-free
my
zone.
boots for BlueDust.
Oh man, can we talk a little bit about that BlueDust video that made the rounds on? What you had mentioned it before. I
got like
man, now we went ahead and we assumed Glitterfist's gender.
Sorry, Glitterfist.
I did not. It was Meanie. Meanie assumed your gender.
I'll take the heat.
See how quickly. Okay, Glitterfist is a kawaii potato. Oh.
What?
Okay. Well, first of all, everybody knows a kawaii potato is female, so I don't understand. Oh yeah, okay, but female, LOL. Okay, I was gonna say, I mean, you outed yourself with the potato reference. So there we go. Yes, I was right, and Glitter Fist is a female.
Oh,
who I gotta tell you, I've never been more intimidated by Glittery Fist than I am in that picture. Like that picture, you can't see it, Meanie, because how this is going, but she definitely looks like she could fuck you up. And the best part about it is for anybody who's like nervous about getting beat up by a girl, like how amazing would that be to have someone beat you up? And so now you're beaten, you're bruised, and you're covered in glitter. Try explaining that to all of your tough guy friends.
That's kind of like when that $1 Million Man would stuff a bill in somebody's fist after,
stuff it in the mouth.
So, yeah. Come on.
Stuff it in the fist. That was something completely different. Yeah. Okay. What were we talking about?
Sir.
We were talking about something about your shag carpeting, or what were we saying? What were we saying? Yes. But,
you brought up the BlueDust video.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So what you had mentioned before, what was it? You forgot your paint. So what was it that was on you?
Yeah, I was supposed to bring paint to paint myself as BlueDust like I did later on WWE. So I get to the studio, and I'm like, fuck, I forgot the paint, and then Sandman automatically stoots you off. Yo, Meanie forgot his paint. So me and Tommy Dreamer had to drive to the local supermarket, and we bought cake icing and blue food dye.
Right.
To which he had to cover me in the blue cake icing, and he was like, Meanie, if they could see us now. It's just like one of those things.
And then at the end of it, when Stevie just gives a little swipe with the finger and licks it.
Yeah.
Man, that's a visual.
Here's a little inside baseball, because a couple seconds after that happened, I guess, like I told the story, the cops showed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like right before Raymond shoots me down, he goes to say, she's not feminine enough. He goes, she's not feminine enough.
Yeah, it didn't come out right.
It didn't come out right. And then I always say 3 seconds after the cop showed up, but it was more like 30 seconds, because we finished the thing, and Paulie comes up and gives me a compliment on keeping my composure, because, somebody would have heard feminine and they would have lost it, and haha, we got a blooper. But I stuck with it. I didn't fucking break character, and I finished the thing. And thank God, because the cop showed up, and that would have been the only take. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
there's like a little inside baseball behind that promo. But yeah, that got posted on Twitter, and everybody, it blew up. It was pretty cool. It's cool to have something like that, and then people, say, "Man, I miss ECW." And
yeah, I mean, ECW was a moment in time for sure. That so many things you couldn't get away with today, but so many things you could and would love to see. And it's just, to me, I'm such a huge, I'm an AEW mark. I love it. I'm very excited by what they do. And one of the things that excites me so much is when I see how hard they're trying to come up with something unique and something different. And that reminds me of an ECW. And no, I'm not saying, AEW is the new ECW. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it reminds me of that energy. And it's not about hardcore this or that or whatever. I mean, there was nothing hardcore. I mean, I guess softcore, but there was nothing, with you covered in that stuff. Like ECW had so many layers to it that history, unfortunately, doesn't remember a lot of the time, doesn't talk about, I should say. But true fans ECW remember that. And those true fans ECW, I feel like a lot of them are here listening to us on Mind of the Meanie because they appreciate you and they can't wait. Hashtag AEW Orange v
versus Blue.
Orange
v Blue. Yeah, let's do that. Let's stick to one thing.
Yes. So what should it be?
Hashtag AEW Orange v Blue.
Got it. And we have to put AEW in there? I think Orange v Blue, and then we just tag AEW.
That too.
I think we'll do that. So this is what I want everybody to do, okay? And Tony Khan, if anyone says this was my idea, I'm blaming it on Meanie.
I'll take the heat.
I want everybody to, as the kids say, don't at me. Is that what I don't know. I want everyone to at Tony Khan, to at Cody to @AEW. And my buddy Dion over there is going to get this, and maybe I could. Who knows? Maybe we can see if this will get retweeted by AEW. But I want something. If you can throw pictures in there of the Blue Meanie and Orange Cassidy, but we want a hashtag. How about hashtag we want Orange v Blue? Is that too much? Is that too much?
Might be a little wordy.
How about you write, we want hashtag Orange v Blue?
Yeah.
That's it. This is it. Okay? We want hashtag Orange v Blue. Tag Blue Meanie and tag Orange Cassidy so they know who the hell you're talking about.
Oh, absolutely. And feel free to have fan art. I love
yes.
fan art.
Oh my God. That would be amazing.
Like make up your own dream match poster.
Yes. Do it. Oh, this show can't come out soon enough. I want this because I want to see if we can make this trend during AEW on Wednesday. So
you know what to do, Pod Squad.
Get on it. Let's see what happens. If nothing else, we're going to see if we can't get some sort of
cease and desist.
Or cease and desist. Yeah, some sort of cease and desist. Here's what we're looking for, folks. We're looking for an invitation from AEW or a cease and desist from AEW. But anything less than that, and we will be disappointed. So
unacceptable.
Yeah. All right, man. What do you think? You think over 3 hours for our longest episode ever is enough?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
There was at one point about an hour and a half in, I was like, I feel like this is going to be a light episode today.
Yeah.
Nope. We
went heavy.
Like a fine wine. We get better with age.
Absolutely.
No, Meanie, thank you again, as always, for allowing me to come along for this experience. Thank you to the Pod Squad for listening to us. Thank you for the elite members on Patreon for tuning in live. I cannot believe you guys are on here watching us.
And sorry, Glitterfist.
Yeah, and Glitterfist, I knew better. But Meanie, he's old, man. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. He doesn't know. He's the kind of guy. What's that fellow doing? And it's like, no, that's not a fellow, Meanie, and we don't call them fellows anymore. So anyway, I'm sorry, Meanie.
Yeah,
I was a little stiff ski over there.
Little stiff ski, brother.
Oh man. Anything else you want to say?
No, thank you for everybody who's hung in there for this marathon.
And for those of you who took a week off and came back to finish the episode.
Yeah. Thank everybody who joined us from their nap in between the show. Thank you for everybody who supported us. Thank you everybody who supported Mrs. Meanie's Etsy, which is still going on. Thank you for everybody who's hit me up on cameo.com/BlueMeanieBWO. I've done like a ton of cameos this week. Thank you so much for supporting me. It means a lot. Thanks for the support of the podcast. Every dime you spend on the podcast goes right into production and helping us make the show a lot better. So thanks for the support. We're nothing without you guys. We're just two guys Skyping without you. So
truer words have never been said. That is absolutely true.
Yeah, thanks for the feedback too.
Yes.
I appreciate everything, and this means a lot.
Likewise. That about does it for us, Meanie, for this week. Although you can catch us if you're a Patreon, if a Patreon member of either tiers, $3 or $5, you will be able to check out our alternative commentary on Patreon, which will be live tomorrow for those watching now, and will have happened yesterday for those just tuning in. But it's up there and it'll be up there forever. So go on, check that out. Patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. Make sure to follow us on social media at Mind of the Meanie across all platforms. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. While you're at it, follow us as individuals. Meanie can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Blue Meanie BWO. I am at Shernoff on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook as well. Don't forget to visit mindofthemeanie.com and go to ProWrestlingTees.com/mindofthemeanie/Blue Meanie /Shernoff for all of our great merchandise there. And of course, Collar and Elbow. And of course, thank you to EatRight.life. Go there, save 60% for the Blue Meanie. I'm Josh Shernoff. Join us again next Monday for another trip into the mind of the Meanie.
Blue World Order. The world of MLW Radio. stops.